under the silent night. The wind whispered softly through the dense canopy of trees. A thin mist drifted by, casting a cold and heavy atmosphere over the space. In this scene, only Wang Rong's voice rang out, sharp, cold, and without a hint of hesitation. The Gu family is suspected of participating in Prince Liang's rebellion. By order, they are to be investigated. Those who resist the order will be killed without mercy. At that moment, Gu Jusi was brought over by soldiers. He desperately resisted, struggling while crying out for help in despair. Looking up at Wang Rong, his eyes glinted with resentment mixed with reproach, his words bursting out in fury. Wang Rong, you say our Gu family colluded with Prince Liang. Do you have any proof? It's obvious your family is jealous of my Gu family's wealth and is looking for an excuse to plunder it. Wang Rong, sitting in a wheelchair, looked at Gu Jusi and sneered, speaking slowly. So what if there's no proof? Prince Liang has rebelled. The world is in chaos. Even Fan Xian, a military governor of Yuzhou, dares to proclaim himself a king. Our Wang family is merely acting according to the times. With that, he leaned down slightly and lifted Gu Jusi's chin mockingly. Wang Rong, son of Wang Shanquan, the military governor of Yangzhou. To tell you the truth, if it weren't for you breaking my leg once, this disaster might not have befallen your Gu family today. You were once a notorious playboy, and now you're a stray dog at my feet. Gu Jusi, how does it feel? Saying this, he flung Gu Jusi away and roared as if to vent his anger. One person's deed, one person's consequence. Spare them. The Gu family disrespects the imperial edict. The entire Gu family execute them on the spot. In his daze, Gu Jusi's mouth mumbled continuously, "Save me, save me." Lu Yuru, who was sleeping, suddenly woke up, her eyes wide as she called out, "Gu Jusi." In Hong heard the commotion and quickly entered, asking, "Young miss, were you having a nightmare?" Lu Yuru sat wearily on the bed, holding her face. Thankfully, it was just a nightmare. Help me with my makeup. While doing her makeup, her mind couldn't focus. At this moment, she was only thinking to herself, Gu Jusi is a famous playboy in Yangzhou. He has nothing to do with me in this lifetime. So why would I dream of him? My family is just a small cloth merchant family, and I'm just an unfavored, legitimate daughter. It's so strange. Just then, a maidservant gently entered to report, "Young miss, old madam, ye has arrived. The madam is calling for you." Lu Yuru glanced over and replied softly, "I know. Tell my father I'll be there shortly." She immediately fell back into deep thought, a series of thoughts in her mind. The matter of Prince Liang's rebellion, the matter of Gu Jusi, it was all just a dream. She looked at herself in the mirror and comforted herself. Lu Yuru, get a grip. How can you successfully marry into the Yi family? Marry Yi Shuren. That's the big thing you need to worry about. Father dotes on his concubine and neglects his main wife, while mother is frail and sickly. Growing up in such an environment, I understand that I must maintain good relationships with everyone, not doing anything that crosses the line. Find a suitable person and marry respectably. Only by marrying well can I win a little face for my mother in this family. Therefore, for many years, I have strived to become a model young lady. Yi Shuren is the one I have chosen. Although he is a man of few words, he is reliable in his work. He has been an excellent student since childhood, and who knows, he might even secure an official position in the future. She and In Hong made their way to the old madam's place. Her heart was still heavy with thoughts. The Yi family's principles are strict. They don't look down on the poor or fawn over the rich. To marry him, for the past 7 or 8 years, I have often visited eldest Miss Yi Yun, taking care of the Yi family's old madam with her. My coming-of-age ceremony just passed, and the old madam has already hinted at her intentions. She looked up slightly, smiled, and guessed to herself, today must be about discussing the marriage. Arriving and stepping inside, Lu Yuru immediately saw that Madame Zhang Yuer was also there. She glanced over but quickly regained her confident demeanor, walking closer and bowing respectfully before the old madam. "Greetings, old Madam Yi." Grandmother, old Madam Yi of the Yi family, spoke softly, gesturing for Lu Yuru to come closer. "Come here, Yuru. Quickly sit down and talk." "Ah, Yuru, you are truly the most well-behaved and polite girl I have ever met." Lu Yuru's father, Lu Xian, spoke up. "Ah, Yuru, old madam has come today to discuss the marriage between you and the Yi family's eldest young master. What do you think?" Lu Yuru smiled shyly, lowered her head, and replied, "Yuru will listen to her parents." Lu Xian cut to the chase. "Then it's settled. Old madam, it's just that the eldest young master is currently participating in the provincial examinations. We don't know when he can return to formally propose marriage. I heard that the Gu family's young master has also reached marriageable age. His mother is going everywhere to find a match for him. If the Gu family comes for a matchmaking session and chooses Yuru, then neither of our families can afford to offend them. A long night is fraught with dreams. Old madam, we must act quickly. Madame Januaire heard this and spoke up. The marriage proposal is a matter for the elders. It's all right if the eldest young master doesn't return for a while. Why not have a Yi family's master come to propose first, to settle things and avoid future complications? The old madam closed her eyes and shook her head, refusing. I'm afraid that won't do. My son has a friend who was just appointed as the military governor of Yuzhou. He went to congratulate him and has not yet returned. Lu Yuru's voice became serious again. Is his surname Fan? That sentence seemed to make the room fall into a silent void. The old madam was startled for a moment and asked back, Yuru, how did you know? Lu Yuru slowly explained. The new military governor of Yuzhou. Is it Fan Xian? I happened to hear about it while having tea with my sisters the other day. At first, I didn't believe it. A position like military governor, how could it be replaced just like that? The old madam seemed to agree with her words. So that's how it is. You're right. However, Fan Xian has served in Yuzhou for 13 years. His foundation is very solid. The previous military governor passed away from illness, and before he died, he recommended him, which is how he was promoted to military governor. Life is truly unpredictable. So we can only wait until the eldest young master finishes the provincial examinations before we can formally propose marriage. Time passed. Lu Yuru sat in the study, practicing calligraphy, but her mind was completely on Gu Jusi. She thought to herself, the military governor of Yuzhou, Prince Liang's rebellion, Gu Jusi. His words kept echoing in her mind. Lu Yuru, save me. She realized that the new military governor of Yuzhou was indeed named Fan Xian. Was this a coincidence or a premonition? In Hong entered and spoke gently. The flowers in the garden are in full bloom. I cut a few branches to bring some good luck for you, young Mississippi. The marriage between you and the Yi family's eldest young master will surely go smoothly. Fragrant flowers, sweet fruit. Lu Yuru replied softly. I hope so. In Hong asked while arranging the flowers. Young miss, did you know that just now when I went to the garden to cut flowers, I heard the maids in concubine Zhang's room talking? A few days ago, the Gu family's madam went to the Lu residence. I don't know if it was for a matchmaking session. Hearing this, Lu Yuru was startled and somewhat panicked, thinking to herself, the Lu family. In Hong continued chattering. Every young lady in Yangzhou City avoids the Gu family's playboy son like the plague. Whoever marries him would be truly unlucky. A name flashed through Lu Yuru's mind, Yusi. Without waiting, Lu Yuru spoke urgently. In Hong, go tell the madam now. I must make a trip to the Lu family to beg them to agree. She told herself, if that was truly a prophetic dream, Yusi absolutely cannot marry Gu Jusi. Chen Sun, Gu Jusi's best friend, a playboy of Yangzhou. Zhou Wenchang, Gu Jusi's best friend, a playboy of Yangzhou. Gu Jusi touched Chen Sun, annoyed and questioning. Chen Sun, what on earth are you up to? Chen Sun turned back, put a finger to his lips, signaling for silence. You'll know in a moment. Jusi, don't worry. But Gu Jusi seemed unable to wait any longer and was about to go crazy. You've been saying that all day. Outside, you said you'd tell me when we snuck into the Lu family's house. Now we're in, and you're still not saying anything. Do you want a beating? Zhou Wenchang placed a hand on Gu Jusi's shoulder and calmly reassured him. Let me explain. We brought you here to see your wife. But those words didn't improve Gu Jusi's mood at all. On the contrary, it made him annoyed as he tightened his grip on Zhou Wenchang. Where did my wife come from? Why don't I know anything? Zhou Wenchang struggled and managed to ask. Your parents went to the Lu residence a few days ago. You didn't know? Gu Jusi was angry at their words, not knowing if they were teasing or telling the truth, and decisively started to walk away, making Chun Sun look on helplessly and say, don't go. Since we're already here, you should at least take a look before leaving. Zhou Wenchang waved his hand, watching Gu Jusi's retreating back, and added to Chun Sun's words. That's right. First, let's confirm what she looks like. Gu Jusi turned his head back and replied, even if she looks like a fairy, it's no use. Suddenly, a voice echoed. Yusi, what did you come to see me for? Why are your eyes so swollen? Chen Sun and Zhou Wenchang hurriedly pulled him away. Someone's coming. Outside, Lu Xixue was in a bad state, crying as she recounted to Lu Yuru. The Gu family's parents came to my house once 2 days ago, called me into the main hall, and looked me over a few times. They offered a few words of praise, and gave me a jade bracelet, and they told me to leave. Lu Yuru gently reached out and touched Lu Xixue, asking softly, what do they mean by that? The question seemed to deepen Lu Xixue's sorrow. causing her to sob. I don't know, but my parents guess they came to talk about marriage with Gu Jusi. The Gu family has a great fortune. I'm really afraid my father will agree for the money. If I really have to marry Gu Jusi, how am I supposed to live? Lu Yiru quickly tried to calm Lu Sishue's spirits. I understand your suffering. If it were me who had to marry him, I would immediately jump into the lake to kill myself. Gu Jusi, standing nearby, overheard this entire conversation and clenched his fists, a thought rising in his heart. Jump into the lake. You were willing to marry me. How did it become not wanting to marry me? Zhou Wenchang, standing beside him, saw this and spoke. Hearing their words, the one crying her heart out is your wife. Chen Sun also observed calmly and spoke up. The other one is probably the legitimate daughter of the Lu family, famous for neglecting the main wife. That's Lu Yiru. She turned to take Lu Sishue's hand and gently laid out a plan. Let's do this. We'll go find out about his personality. Then we'll do the opposite of what he likes, forcing him to call off the engagement. Lu Sishue asked hesitantly, force him to call off the engagement? Lu Yiru seriously explained with sharp reasoning. For example, I heard that Gu Jusi is still unmarried. This is mainly because he has high standards for a wife. He hates noble ladies who follow the rules strictly, especially those who like to read the classics. You should go home and carefully read the 4 books and 5 classics, especially books that advise on proper conduct. Memorize them well. Tomorrow, when you meet him, just keep lecturing him. The 3 of them, standing in a corner, heard everything she said. Gu Jusi smirked with interest, while beside him, Zhou Wenchang and Chen Sun said in unison, "This girl is interesting." Lu Yiru continued, "I also heard that he hates pretentious girls, especially those who actively approach him. He hates them even more. Later, when you meet him, you should speak in a soft voice. If he says anything harsh, you should cry. Don't speak too reasonably like a normal person. You must speak unclearly, act unclearly, and only know how to ask him for money. Furthermore, he might not like strong floral scents. I will find you a sachet with a strong fragrance. When you meet him, put that scent on your handkerchief and wave it in front of him. Remember to do it exactly like that." Zhou Wenchang clicked his tongue and remarked, "This girl is really interesting. If she had actually investigated you thoroughly, you might have died a more miserable death." Chen Sun, beside him, agreed, "Yes, very miserable." Lu Sishue, feeling unsettled, asked again, "If it comes to that, and he still wants to marry me, what then?" That question made Gu Jusi unable to bear it any longer, and he appeared, speaking loudly. "Rest assured, I will definitely not marry you." The sudden appearance startled Lu Yiru and Lu Sishue, making them turn their heads to look. Lu Sishue tightly gripped the hem of Lu Yiru's sleeve and asked in a trembling voice, "What did you just say? Which courtyard servant are you? Why are you here?" "Here?" Lu Yiru said nothing, just stared at him, thinking to herself, "It's Gu Jusi. If the news of Gu Jusi appearing in the Lu residence's rear courtyard gets out, the one who will suffer is still Lu Sishue." Gu Jusi said confidently, "Of course What servant would dare to barge into the rear courtyard like this?" Lu Yiru coldly ordered in a loud voice, "Quickly drag him out and throw him out of the residence." Those words left Gu Jusi stunned, pointing at himself in disbelief. Then a tall man came over, grabbed him by the collar, and growled, "How brave, daring to barge into the young lady's courtyard." Chen Sun repeatedly denied it. "It's not like that." Gu Jusi, panicked, said quickly, "What are you still standing there for? Run." After being chased out, the 3 of them were panting as if they had just been in a wrestling match. Zhou Wenchang, panting, said, "That girl is really too timid. She called for people without saying a word. She ran off. It really tired me out." Gu Jusi glanced over and replied, "Her? Scared?" She was clearly pretending, afraid we would ruin her reputation. Lu Yiru, a lantern flower, pure on the outside, but possibly a maze on the inside. Her schemes are deeper than Lu Sishue's. Chen Sun looked over. "No wonder. I was wondering how she could marry him." Gu Jusi, startled and confused, asked again to confirm, "Who is she marrying?" Chen Sun replied, "He is the top scholar of Bailu Academy. Madame Yi long ago declared that her daughter-in-law must be Lu Yiru. You didn't know about this?" Gu Jusi suddenly fell into thought, thinking to himself, someone with an ordinary family background, an unremarkable appearance, a personality that just follows the rules, aside from being thoughtful, has no outstanding qualities. Yet she gets to marry someone who has been accepted as a student by the Grand Scholar Suwen. Everyone knows his future path is wide open, but the person he hates most is a hypocrite. That is Yi Shuren, a white lotus paired with another white lotus. Then, as if untangling a knot in his heart, he broke into a confident smile. All right then, I agree to this marriage. Gu Jusi looked at Chun Sun and ordered, you, find someone to follow Lu Yuru. Chun Sun, confused by this action, asked back why follow her. But suddenly, it was as if a current ran through his mind, and he immediately understood Gu Jusi's intention. He grabbed Gu Jusi's shoulders tightly and asked insistently, Jusi, are you interested in Lu Yuru? Gu Jusi smacked Chun Sun on the head and loudly denied it. What nonsense are you talking about? Am I the type of person with such poor taste? Let me tell you, even if all the women in the world died, I would still not marry her. Zhou Wenchang stepped forward to question him. Then why did you tell Chun Sun to follow her? Gu Jusi looked straight ahead, his gaze somewhat arrogant, as he replied. Today she made us lose face like that. Are we just going to let it go? She is now Yi Shuren's fiancée. Yi Shuren oppresses us, and she slaps us in the face. If we don't fight back, are we still men? Zhou Wenchang pulled Chun Sun to his feet, and they said in unison, so how are we going to deal with her? Gu Jusi recalled Lu Yuru's words, I understand your suffering. If I had to marry him, I would immediately jump into the river and kill myself. His heart felt like dancing for having achieved his goal. Fanning himself leisurely, he replied calmly, what she did to me, I will do right back to her. Make her uncomfortable. After saying that, a satisfied smile crept onto his lips. Meanwhile, Yuru was sitting and embroidering a pattern on a small blanket. She smiled and said to herself, based on Jusi's personality, he definitely won't marry Sishue. But a connection between him and me has been formed. I shouldn't have acted so hastily that day. I wonder when Yi Shuren will return. The Yi family is a family of scholars. Perhaps they will show me some respect. They probably won't make things difficult for me. In Hong walked in with a thick stack of documents in her hand, calling out in a high voice. Young miss, have you heard? The old master of the Gu family was so angry, he chased the young master down the street to beat him. Lu Yuru asked softly, what happened? In Hong walked over, placed the documents on the table, and replied, what else could it be? The young master of the Gu family went around proclaiming that his marriage is his own decision. Old Master Gu got so angry he grabbed a cane and chased him. Yuru smiled and closed her eyes, feeling it in her heart. Although Gu Jusi usually acts a bit wild, he's not that bad. On the contrary, he often causes amusing incidents in Yangzhou. A person like that, although a bit troublesome, if he really met an end like in the dream, it would be too tragic. Seeing Yuru's pensive expression, Inhong observed her and asked gently, young miss, are you bored? How about we go out and buy some cosmetics? Yuru looked up and suggested, then let's go out for a stroll. We can also buy a few more things for Mother's room. A moment later, Lu Yuru was listening intently to the advice. This type, whether in quality or color, is very good. It's very popular with customers, although it's a bit expensive, but you get what you pay for. She looked down at the item in her hand, her gaze gentle, and said softly, it really is very good. Suddenly, Gu Jusi's voice echoed from outside, Sister Yuru. Inhong quickly turned to stand in front of Yuru, frowning as she retorted, hey, why are these men in a place for women? Following behind were Chun Sun and Zhou Wenchang. Gu Jusi fanned himself as he called her name, Sister Yuru. Yuru, not wanting to talk, coldly turned away. Inhong, let's go. Chun Sun quickly blocked her way. Where are you going, sister? Zhou Wenchang beside him smiled at her. Don't be in such a hurry to leave. Yuru could only helplessly utter two words. You people. Gu Jusi got straight to the point. Sister Yuru, buying cosmetics? Yuru didn't answer, but looked towards the shop owner and asked, Shopkeeper, male customers coming here, isn't it a bit inconvenient? The shopkeeper could only force a smile and reply, Young Master Gu, this is a cosmetics shop. You coming here? My customers. Gu Jusi declared loudly with great determination. Today, I will buy all the cosmetics in this shop. He looked at her and said extravagantly, Sister Yuru, take whatever cosmetics you want. Big brother will gift them to you. Inhong quickly interjected, reminding him instead of giving an answer. Young Master Gu, you must watch your words. My young miss is a lady from a respectable and innocent family. You being like this. Gu Jusi leaned down slightly and asked in a cold voice, how am I? Why don't you tell me? Yuru's eyes sparkled as she looked at him, a faint smile on her lips as she thought to herself, Gu Jusi came to cause trouble today. The urgent matter now is to protect my honor. She put on a pitiful look, her eyes welling with tears, her voice trembling. Young Master Gu, I don't know why you are looking for Yuru today. Yuru and you are as different as heaven and earth. We have no connection whatsoever. If my family has offended you in any way, I beg you to forgive us, young Master Gu. A great man doesn't concern himself with the minor faults of his inferiors. Please forgive my family and don't make things difficult for me anymore. Chun Sun watched this scene and suddenly felt self-reproach. Have we gone too far? Zhou Wenchang was no better. We've made her cry again. Gu Jusi enunciated each word sharply. Lu Yuru, you really know how to act. Seeing this, she started to sob. Young Master Gu, please spare my life. Seeing the tense atmosphere, Chun Sun spoke up. Jusi, how about we just let it go? Gu Jusi angrily pointed at her. What do you know about letting it go? This woman. Suddenly, an idea flashed in his mind. His gaze softened and even began to sparkle. His tone gentler. He directed his gaze at her. Sister Yuru, what are you crying for? I'm not making things difficult for you. I just like you. Yuru was startled and said, what? Young Master Gu, please stop joking. Gu Jusi moved closer to her, expressing his feelings. I'm not joking. It was love at first sight for me. My heart was captured at second sight. In this life, I will marry no one but you. Yuru looked up at Gu Jusi as he expressed his feelings. Young Master Gu, about last time, I apologized to you. Today, you've made things difficult for me, so let's consider it even. Please, give me some face, all right? In her heart, she wanted to scream out loud, I've lost. When it comes to being shameless, I really can't beat Gu Jusi. Gu Jusi, seemingly unwilling to let her go, moved even closer and whispered, didn't you say you'd jump into the lake if you had to marry me? I'm going to propose to you now. Hurry up, time waits for no one, Sister Yuru. Yuru trembled all over and stepped back. Young Master Gu, must you force me to jump into this river to be satisfied? He answered succinctly, not necessarily. Gu Jusi felt somewhat relieved. Seeing her tremble for my teasing and seriously apologizing, it seems I'm not that angry anymore. Then he bent down to Yuru's eye level and uttered a somewhat narcissistic sentence. But you have to say one thing. Yi Shiren is a terrible person, not as handsome, talented, and outstanding as Gu Jusi, and of upright character. Yuru was stunned by that statement, then played along. Young Master Gu is right. Young Master Yi is a terrible person, not as handsome, talented, and outstanding as you. Hearing this, Gu Jusi was filled with joy, his face proud and satisfied. That's right. Yuru continued to pour out flowery words of praise and upright. You are a true gentleman of noble character. Surely you wouldn't make things difficult for a little girl like me. Gu Jusi was choked with emotion by Yuru's words, then feigned a cough to end the conversation. You're quite a smooth talker. All right, let's go. Yuru bowed her head slightly and called out, In Hong, let's go. In Hong replied quickly, Yes, young Mississippi. Suddenly, Gu Jusi's high-pitched voice rang out again. Wait. In his hand was a box of rouge. He looked straight at Yuru, In Hong, and the other ladies present, smiling confidently. Each of you, pick a box of rouge. Put on my tab. He placed it in her hand, his voice firm. Take it. Yuru held the box of rouge, looking it over as if thinking of something, and thought to herself, this is. She spoke aloud to the curious In Hong. It's indeed very good. She thought to herself, the box of rouge from just now. She was surprised and looked up at Gu Jusi's words, as he had quickly noticed her gaze and understood what she wanted. The moment I walked in, I saw you staring at this box of rouge. Go pick a few more. Gu Jusi moved closer and whispered, In the future, when you marry Yi Shiren, help me take good care of him. Having said that, without giving her time to react, he walked away, not forgetting to call out loudly to Chun Sun and Yang Wenxiong. Let's go. Yuru stood there, stunned and confused by Gu Jusi's series of strange actions and words. Outside, Chun Sun immediately asked in puzzlement, Why did you give him rouge? Gu Jusi, fanning himself, replied, It's hard to say. It's just that when she suddenly changed her tone and apologized to me just now, I suddenly felt that this girl isn't so detestable after all. I just remembered that teasing her like that might not have been very proper. Her life isn't easy either. What, not easy? Later, at the Gu residence, Gu Jusi's father, old Master Gu, angrily shouted, This brat doesn't know what's good for him. What does he think I arranged this engagement for? Wasn't it because I was afraid his uncle would drag him into the palace for a recommendation? If some princess were to take a liking to him, could he handle it? Madame Gu, Jiang Nu, gently soothed his anger beside him. My lord, Jusi has a point. After all, it's his marriage. For you to vaguely arrange an engagement for him like this, marrying someone he doesn't like, is ultimately not a good solution. Don't be angry anymore. Gu Jusi's mother, Madame Gu, Jiang Nu, old Master Gu Langhua, his anger not yet subsided, turned to Madame Jiangnu and questioned, "Then what is reasonable? Taking him to meet a princess, is that reasonable?" Suddenly, a subordinate's voice was heard reporting, "Old master, madam, we've found it." The old master and madam spoke in unison. "Found what?" The subordinate reported. "The young master's beloved has been found." Madam's face lit up as she stood and repeated for clarity, "Juicy has a beloved?" The old master, calmer, immediately asked for verification. "How do you know Juicy has a beloved?" The subordinate slowly recounted all the events that had just occurred. "The young master has said it. He will marry no one but this girl. If this isn't his beloved, then what is? This is the girl's portrait." The two of them curiously unrolled it, looking at the portrait while listening to the story. This girl is the young miss of the Liu family, Liu Yuru, a native of Yangzhou. Although she may look ordinary, she is a typical well-bred young lady. Her personality is also very good. The most important thing is that our son likes her. Madam's face grew even brighter as she spoke. "That's right. You go and prepare. Follow me to draft the betrothal gift list. Tomorrow, the old master and I will go to propose marriage." Suddenly, the subordinate continued with crucial information. "Madam, but there's a rumor. It's said that the old madam of the Yi family has taken a liking to the young miss. The marriage between the two families is perhaps already set." Madam asked gently, "It's set?" He shook his head and replied, "Not yet. It's all just rumors." The old master was silent for a moment, then spoke. "Madam, this matter seems a bit strange." Madam also agreed. "It is indeed strange. Juicy has always told me everything, but now there's a girl he likes that he's never mentioned to me, and she's such an ordinary girl at that. How did you say they met?" The old master stated his view. "Don't say anything to Juicy about this marriage proposal yet. In any case, this girl is the one he said he would marry no one else, but let's just settle it first. We can't let him cause trouble again this time." Madam replied, "A marriage proposal is such a big deal. Not telling him doesn't seem right." The old master immediately reassured her, "It's fine. This came from his own mouth, after all. Let's just go to the Liu family to understand the situation clearly. If the two families have already arranged it, then of course, a gentleman does not steal another's betrothed. If it's not set, then it's the Liu family's choice." Old Master Gulanghua and Madame Jiangnu went to the Yi family. The matriarch, old madam of the Yi family, began to ask, "I wonder what brings you two here." Gulanghua spoke up. "A few days ago, I heard that your esteemed family had good news. It seems the young miss of the Liu family and the Yi family have an engagement. Is that correct?" Zhang Yuer stared, thinking to herself, "Liu Yuru is going to marry into such a good family, so the betrothal gifts will all belong to my son later. Although the Yi family's betrothal gifts are not small, how can the Yi family's wealth compare to the Gu family's?" Then she smiled and said aloud, "This is just a rumor. Our Yuru and the eldest young miss of the Yi family are close friends, so they're a bit closer, but the matter of marriage has never been mentioned at all. Currently, the eldest young master of the Yi family is still taking his exams. How would he have time to talk about these things?" Lu Xian, sitting beside her, forced a smile in agreement. Yes, no engagement has been set." Madame Jiangnu took a deep breath, gathered her courage, and got straight to the point. "Actually, the reason we came here today is that we wish to propose a marriage between the young miss of the Liu family and our son, Juicy. We've heard that the young miss of the Liu family is virtuous, gentle, intelligent, and talented. Although our son Juicy is not an outstanding talent, he is also intelligent and capable. With the young miss of the Liu family, it would truly be a perfect match." The madam smiled, her eyes curving like crescent moons, and continued, "Our Gu family is a straightforward family. We do everything with sincerity. If you two agree, this is the list of betrothal gift from the Gu family. Tomorrow, we will formally deliver the gifts." Madame Zhangyuer couldn't help but marvel continuously, her eyes shining brighter than the night stars. Madame Jiangnu said with confidence, "If there is anything unsatisfactory, please just tell us. Whatever we can do, we will definitely do." Madame Zhangyuer switched from a state of awe back to normal in an instant. She replied gracefully, "I have always regarded Yuru as my own daughter. Money is not the most important thing. What's important is whether the young master of the Gu family is sincere." Madame Jiangnu smiled and shared candidly, "Our family members are not good with words, so we can only use gold and silver to show our sincerity, but we absolutely have no intention of offending the young miss. In a person's life, only the things you can actually hold in your hands are reliable, right?" She signaled with a wink to Old Master Gulanghua. The old master understood and immediately added, "We also have 5 shops on the east side of the street that will be included in this betrothal gift. What do you two think?" Zhang Yuer's heart felt like it was about to explode as a juicy piece of bait was served right to her mouth. She immediately replied, "Old master, the young master of the Gu family, is an outstanding young man. For him to choose Yuru is Yuru's blessing. What do you think, my lord?" Lu Xian was startled and only replied concisely, "Yes." His gaze lowered as he thought to himself, the Gu couple are good people. If Yuru marries into their family, she certainly won't suffer. Then he turned and softly asked the old master and madam of the Gu family, "May I ask, what does the young master of the Gu family think of this marriage?" Lu Xian silently told himself, although Gu Juicy is a bit wild, whether a woman lives well or not depends on whether a man loves her. Jiang Nu gently replied, "If it weren't for my son admiring the young miss of the Lu family, why would we go to such lengths?" But Madame Zhang Yue, somewhat excited, immediately interjected, "Then it's fate, a good marriage ordained by the old man under the moon." Our Yuru has also said before that the young master of the Gu family is handsome and has a straightforward personality, a rare and good man. Madame Jiang Nu smiled in satisfaction and replied, "That's wonderful then, old Master Lu. Then tomorrow we will formally deliver the betrothal gifts." Zhang Yue did not hesitate and agreed immediately. "Let's do that. Then tomorrow I will await your esteemed presence." Later, Madame Zhang Yue and Lu Xian were strolling in the city grounds. Lu Xian spoke up, "Madam, you should go talk to Yuru about this. It's more convenient for you women to discuss this among yourselves." Zhang Yue smiled and replied, "Rest assured, my lord. A family like the Gu family won't let Yuru suffer." But her eyes held a scheming look as she thought to herself, "Yuru is truly valuable. This matter must be settled before she finds out, lest she ruins my good fortune." Meanwhile, Lu Yuru was sitting and embroidering when she was distracted by a commotion. She looked up and asked In Hong, "Why is it so noisy outside?" "In Hong, go and see." In Hong replied, "Yes." Outside, countless chests of betrothal gifts were being brought in. In Hong surveyed the scene and then rushed back to report, "Young miss, the guards outside say that you've been grounded by the second mistress." It's said that what happened at the cosmetic shop that day reached the second mistress's ears. They say grounding you is for the sake of your reputation. Lu Yuru was startled by this news and exclaimed, "The second mistress has always acted like a kind mother, but this time she's grounding me just because of a prank with Gu Jusi?" In Hong sensed something was wrong and asked, "But young miss, think about it. Why would the second mistress suddenly be so concerned about you?" Lu Yuru gently stroked her embroidery and replied softly, "She's probably afraid that something might go wrong with the marriage to the Yi family, right?" She ordered In Hong, "Go and bring me the book or record of Little Stone Mountain." In Hong quickly went, not forgetting to ask, "Are you reading again, young miss?" Lu Yuru smiled faintly and replied, "The last time I went to the Yi family, a Yun told me that young Master Yi has read this book and liked it very much. I have to keep up, so I'll have something to talk about with him in the future." As she turned the pages, she asked In Hong, "When do you think young Master Yi will return?" In Hong gently replied, somewhat reassuringly, "Don't worry, young Mississippi young Master Yi will be back soon." Then she whispered softly in Lu Yuru's ear, "He'll be back to take you away soon." Lu Yuru was startled and turned to pinch In Hong's cheeks in protest. "Don't talk nonsense." Suddenly, a knock on the door interrupted the two of them. In Hong quickly left, not forgetting to advise, "Young miss, rest for a bit. Eat something, then continue reading." "Why was lunch prepared so quickly today?" Lu Yuru watched In Hong's back and nodded. "All right." Then In Hong returned to Lu Yuru's side. She brought the chopsticks to her mouth and whispered softly, "In Hong, why am I so sleepy today?" After saying that, she slumped down right at the table, causing In Hong to panic and scream. "Young miss." Lu Yuru slowly opened her eyes, and looking at her surroundings, she spoke groggily, "This is." Seeing this, In Hong hurriedly opened the curtains and said worriedly, "Young miss, you're finally awake. You've been asleep all morning." Lu Yuru couldn't help but put a hand to her forehead and sigh internally. "What a headache." Meanwhile, In Hong continued to speak. "Young miss, the second mistress has arrived. She said she has something to tell you and is currently waiting in the outer hall." Upon hearing this, Lu Yuru was a little surprised and replied immediately, "In Hong, help me wash up." Zhang Yue gently pushed the teacup to her lips, then drank calmly. Just then, Lu Yuru also arrived and called out, "Second mistress." As soon as she saw her, Zhang Yue spoke, "Yuru, I came to tell you something. The thing is, the Gu family has already come to deliver the betrothal gifts." Upon hearing this, Lu Yuru's expression darkened, and, as if struck by lightning, she thought to herself, "The Gu family? Why would they come to deliver betrothal gifts?" With a trembling voice, she asked Father, "Father, has he already agreed?" Zhang Yue replied, "He has already agreed." The next second, Lu Yuru was so shocked that she fell backward, causing Yin Hong, who was standing beside her, to quickly catch her. Young Mississippi seeing her in this state, Zhang Yue couldn't help but console her. "Yuru, I know you're upset about this, but your father is also doing this for your own good. Previously, when you were to marry into the Yi family, your father was actually worried they would look down on you. Furthermore, Yi Shuren's future is very bright. If he goes to the capital to become an official in the future and has other opportunities, he might become a faithless man, and your life would be very difficult. And if you go to the capital with the high mountains and long rivers, it would be hard for your father to see you again. The Gu family is powerful. Gu Jusi will not go to the capital. You will be the secure main wife. In the household, won't you be the one making the decisions?" The more she listened, the more Lu Yuru trembled with despair. The next second, she was filled with anger and thought to herself, with the Gu family's financial power, they surely offered a large sum. What's the big deal about marrying off a daughter? So what if they offend the Yi family? Whether it was the second mistress grounding me or the drug breakfast, it was all just because they were afraid I wouldn't agree to this. But how can I be willing? I have waited so many years to be with Yi Shuren. I have placed all my life's hopes on him. Just as she thought of Yi Shuren, the image of Gu Jusi suddenly appeared. He smiled gently and said, "I'm not joking. I fell in love with you at first sight, and the more I see you, the more I love you. In this life, it will be no one but you." The more she heard, the more indignant Lu Yuru became, thinking to herself, "And in the end, they tell me I have to marry that good-for-nothing young master, the one all the prominent young ladies in Yangzhou City avoid, Gu Jusi." Lu Yuru's face suddenly turned pale at this thought. The image from her previous dream suddenly appeared in her mind. The Gu family is suspected of participating in Prince Liang's rebellion plot, ordered to be investigated and have their assets seized. Anyone who resists the order will be executed on the spot. In Lu Yuru's train of thought, they say it's for my own good, that I'll live a life of luxury with mountains of gold and silver later on. But what if that dream is real? Help! The next second, the image of Wang Rong appeared with the words, "Prince Liang has rebelled. The world is in chaos." Even a military governor of Yuzhou, like Fan Xian, dares to proclaim himself king. Our Wang family is merely following the tide of the times. The Gu family resisted the order and did not comply. The entire Gu household will be executed on the spot. It's still a life. At that time, Gu Jusi was tortured to death. As for Lu Yuru, she suddenly thought of her mother. "I'm not afraid of death, but if I die, what will happen to my mother? Can she go on living?" Returning to reality, Zhang Yue was still trying to persuade her. "Yuru, don't have foolish thoughts. Not to mention other things. The physician previously said that your mother's illness needs to be treated with rare and precious medicines. If you marry into the Gu family, what treasure can't be found? The madam's illness will surely be cured as well. Yuru, think more about your mother." As soon as she heard this sentence, Lu Yuru's eyes suddenly widened, and she then whipped her head around to look at Zhang Yue, which made the latter feel extremely surprised and bewildered. Has she discovered something? Impossible. How could a 15-year-old girl understand anything? With a soft voice, Lu Yuru spoke. "Can I discuss it with my mother?" Zhang Yue smiled and replied, "Silly girl, your father has already decided, and the betrothal gifts have been accepted. What way out do you have left? If you refuse this marriage, you won't find a family as good as the Gu family. If father and second mistress have already decided, then let it be so. But what about the Yi family? There must be an explanation for them. You can rest assured about that. I have already sent someone to speak with the Yi family's grandmother. The Gu family came to deliver the betrothal gifts so suddenly, no one expected it. Besides, they're a powerful family. We didn't dare to do otherwise. The Yi family's grandmother will understand." Lu Yuru's hands suddenly clenched into trembling fists. However, she still managed to say softly, "Since second mistress has handled things so thoughtfully, Yuru can also rest assured." Then, the next second, she bowed politely and asked right away, "Second mistress, it's time for my mother to take her medicine today. I'm worried in my heart and wish to go take care of her. I wonder if that's all right?" Zhang Yue replied, "If you don't mind the trouble, then go and see her. Take more care of your mother. Now that your marriage is set, we don't need to pretend anymore." The confinement order is also lifted. As she finished speaking, she calculated internally, Lu Yuru will have to marry into the Gu family in the end. If it's possible not to make an enemy, then don't. Meanwhile, Lu Yuru stared intently at Zhang Yue with a look of displeasure. In the room, In Hong couldn't help but ask worriedly, "Young miss, what now? What should we do?" Lu Yuru replied immediately, "Call for In from the outer courtyard. Tell her to come with me to see mother." This made In Hong a little curious. Is that the beauty whom young miss saved and arranged to stay in the outer courtyard before? Lu Yuru said yes. "By the way, you should also go and inquire about the list of betrothal gifts from the Gu family for me." In Hong obediently followed the order, replying yes. Outside the window, the sunlight shone brightly, yet Lu Yuru's heart was filled with despair, and she listlessly told herself, "It's over. No matter how much I retaliate, no matter what I do, this life of mine is as good as over." As she thought this, Lu Yuru was choked with resentment, her eyes welling up with tears. Outside the residence, sunlight illuminated the entire sky. Lu Yuru carefully supported her mother. As soon as she sat down at the dining table, her mother spoke. "I heard it was very lively outside today. Did the Yi family come to discuss the marriage? If so, then this matter is mostly settled. I've had someone look into young Master Yi. He's a good son, and you'll be well settled after marrying him." Upon hearing this, Lu Yuru refuted, "It's not." This made her mother extremely curious. "What's wrong?" Lu Yuru replied, "It's not the Yi family. It's the Gu family, Gu Jusi." Upon hearing this, her mother's face filled with panic and confusion. Is it that Gu Jusi, the one who gambles and fights all day, has no ambition, and just causes trouble relying on his family's money? Her mother was so shocked, she coughed incessantly, then hurriedly urged, "Quickly, go find your father." Seeing her mother cough up blood, Lu Yuru couldn't help but say worriedly, "Mother, In Hong, quickly go call the physician." Her mother looked at Lu Yuru with a stunned expression and said, "He has lost his last shred of decency. This marriage cannot be set. It cannot be set." In this situation, Lu Yuru could only explain with tears in her eyes, "Mother, it's useless." This appearance of hers made her mother stare blankly, dumbfounded. Lu Yuru continued, "The gifts have already been sent. What decent family would want to marry a girl whose engagement has been broken? I have no other choice." Her mother, full of sorrow, replied tearfully, "It's because your mother is useless. I can't help you with anything." Upon hearing this, Lu Yuru reassured her, "Mother, don't overthink it. I am truly willing." However, her mother naturally understood her perfectly and said, "Willing? What are you willing about? All these years, you've only ever said good things, never the bad. But whether you're living well or not, how could your mother not know? But I can't do anything. Only hope that Zhang Yuer, seeing that we know our place, would treat you a little better. But what about now? She has sold you." As she spoke, the mother gripped Lu Yuru's hand tightly, trembling. Lu Yuru, though crying in anguish, still tried to reassure her mother. "Mother, it's not like that. I am truly willing. Actually, Gu Jusi is very good. He even helped me. The rouge I bought for you last time was a gift from him. He treats me very well, really. Marrying him, I won't be bullied. Mother, Gu Jusi and I are already engaged. Don't worry anymore. The urgent matter now is something else." The Gu family certainly sent a lot of betrothal gifts, but with Zhang Yuer's personality, I'm afraid my dowry won't have much left. At that time, if I'm ridiculed by others, I won't be able to hold my head up in the Gu household. The next second, she called out, "Inin, come in." Inin, a servant in the Lu household, immediately entered, smiled, bowed, and greeted, "Greetings, Grand Madam." Looking at Inin, Lu Yuru asked, "Inin, I called you here today to ask, after I get married, can you stay behind to help my mother? If you agree, then stay. If not, that's fine too." Inin immediately replied, "Young miss is joking. For this servant to become the Grand Madam's personal attendant is already a blessing. How could I not agree?" The next second, Lu Yuru turned to her mother and said, "Mother, let her stay with you." Her mother also replied immediately, "Tomorrow, I will feign illness to have your father visit me." Outside in the hall, as In Hong walked, she spoke, "Young miss, I've finished investigating. Besides the usual gold, silver, jade, and jewelry, the Gu family also gifted 5 shops on East Street." Upon hearing this, Lu Yuru gave an order. The Gu family sent the betrothal gifts too quickly. They probably haven't had time to change the names on the deeds. In Hong, find a few trustworthy people. Immediately go to the casino, find Gu Jusi, give this letter to him, and tell him to change the names on the deeds to my name. Holding the letter in her hand, In Hong was a little doubtful. "Young miss, won't doing this make the Gu family look down on you?" To this question, Lu Yuru could only give a bitter laugh and say, "Do you think the Gu family doesn't know about our family's affairs? I'm already a laughingstock. What's there to fear about losing more face?" In Hong called out in distress, "Young miss." However, Lu Yuru remained strong. looked at the moon in the sky, and said, "When I tell you to pass on a message, it means I already have a plan. Besides, Gu Jussi's nature isn't bad. For him to have the Gu family come to propose marriage, he must have some feelings for me. Tonight is a beautiful evening." The next morning, as soon as they saw Gu Jussi, the servants began to gossip. "Hey, young Master Gu is leaving so early today. It's just dawn." Gu Jussi, yawning repeatedly, muttered to himself, "No more gambling. No more. This young master has lost all his money." Just then, a servant suddenly appeared in front of him. Seeing this, Gu Jussi said irritably, "If you can't give me a good reason for stopping me today, don't blame me for being impolite." The servant handed him the letter and replied, "Young Master Gu, my young miss has said, if you have the intention of becoming husband and wife, please protect her more." Upon receiving the letter, Gu Jussi was utterly bewildered and confused. "What nonsense are you spouting? Do you have the wrong person? I'm Gu Jussi. What's this about husband and wife?" However, right after reading the letter, his expression darkened. Gu Jussi asked in alarm, "Your young miss is Lu Yuru?" In just a moment, he became extremely furious and said to himself, "Well done, Gu Langhua, you damned old man. Did you just let my words go in one ear and out the other?" As soon as he finished speaking, Gu Jussi quickly left. The servant who delivered the letter couldn't help but quickly remind him, "Young Master Gu, please take care of the paperwork quickly." Gu Jussi frowned, turned back, and replied, "What paperwork? To agree to a marriage like this, is there something wrong with your young Mrs. Head?" While leisurely sipping her tea, Lu Yuru thought to herself, "I have never hated anyone in my life, but now I truly despise Gu Jussi. Even Zhang Yuer is just driven by different interests. No one is truly a good person." Just then, In Hong ran in from outside, calling out, "Young miss," young Master Gu said. Gu Jussi said, "There's something wrong with your head." Upon hearing this, Lu Yuru's face was filled with utter astonishment and bewilderment. Her heart was full of thoughts, but now, I truly hold a grudge against Gu Jussi. Hearing his attitude and the Gu family's actions, I'm afraid the Gu family intended to find a suitable match for him. As the thought ended, her whole body suddenly trembled, and she spoke with deep hatred, but he wasn't satisfied, and just then, he joked about marrying me. That remark reached the Gu family's ears, and so they made the decision before he knew. I have built everything for so many years, and just because of one sentence from Gu Jussi, it all came crashing down. Seeing Lu Yuru in this state, In Hong hurriedly tried to calm her. "Young miss, don't let yourself get too angry. Young Master Gu doesn't seem reliable at all. If a madam here can't secure a dowry for you, what will you do when you go to the Gu family?" Lu Yuru angrily smashed her teacup on the ground, then, filled with frustration, shouted, "Gu Jussi's entire family has problems. The elders came to propose marriage without understanding the situation, and the young one is clueless, only knows how to gamble. No one understands the matter of marriage. No one in that family is reliable. I'm afraid Gu Jussi even thinks I'm relying on his family status to get married. It's absurd. Their whole family has problems." Seeing her crying incessantly out of grievance, In Hong quickly comforted her. "Young miss, please calm down." At Gu Jussi's place, he was also storming into the house while his subordinates tried to stop him. "Young master, calm down." Gu Jussi couldn't help but think irritably. Didn't Lu Yuru say she would jump into a lake if she had to marry me? Why would she agree to my parents' proposal? A calculating woman like her. She must have been targeting my family from the beginning, planning everything since we met. As soon as he finished this thought, he stood at the door and shouted, "Gu Langhua, you damned old man, get out here." Upon hearing this, Gu Langhua came out and replied irritably, "You brat, you still dare to come back?" Gu Jussi quickly held the letter up in front of Gu Langhua and asked, "What is this all about? Why did you arrange my marriage with Lu Yuru?" Gu Langhua, his face flushing with anger, replied, "What's wrong with Lu Yuru? You will marry whomever I tell you to marry. Do you dare to defy me?" Gu Jussi stubbornly retorted at once, "I already said it last time. If I don't agree, no one can force me. Unless I say I want to marry her myself. Otherwise, even you, father, I will absolutely not yield." While they were arguing, Jiang Ro suddenly asked, "But isn't that girl the one you want to marry?" This left Gu Jussi utterly confused. "When did I say I wanted to marry her?" Immediately, a subordinate standing nearby clarified, "Young master, wasn't it at the cosmetic shop? The whole city knows about it now." After hearing those words, Gu Jussi guiltily said, "I was just joking. How can that be taken as truth?" Upon hearing this, Gu Langhua became even more furious and said, "You must be responsible for what you say. Otherwise, aren't you ruining someone else's reputation? This is a matter of a lifetime." Gu Jusi quickly argued back. Then isn't marrying her also a matter of a lifetime? I don't care. Call off the engagement. She's about to marry Yi Shuren. What kind of mess are you all making? Upon hearing this, Jiang Ro explained, is that what you're worried about? Don't worry. When we went to propose, we already investigated. There's no such thing. The Liu family said that Miss Liu likes you. This couldn't help but make Gu Jusi extremely surprised, his mind filled with thoughts. She doesn't like a prestigious gentleman with a bright future like Yi Shuren, but instead turns around and likes a wastrel like me? Wait a minute, if she's after money, marrying me is much better than marrying Yi Shuren. Could it be that Liu Yuru's affection for Yi Shuren was just a cover to get close to and trap me? After thinking for a moment, he affirmed with certainty, no matter what, I don't want to get married. If I have to marry, I will marry someone I like. Why should I let her scheme against me and be forced by everyone like this? Gulanghua immediately shot back. Forced you? You're the one who said you wouldn't marry anyone but her, right? A real man must be true to his word. If you want to call off the engagement, then how will you account for her entire life? Gu Jusi said with a serious face, what matter? She should find someone she likes and do what she wants. Why must she get married? If the engagement is called off, is she going to use a white silk rope and a short sword to end her life? Does she have nothing else to do besides getting married? You all are being absurd. The more Jiang Ro listened, the more she frowned and asked, Jusi, girls and boys are not the same. If you call off the engagement, what will people say about her? Who will marry her? Would you marry someone whose engagement has been broken? If you like her, why won't you marry her? Jusi, Yuru is a proper, well-bred young lady. She doesn't have the same courage as you. Who knows? If you call off the engagement today, she might commit suicide out of shame tomorrow. After listening for a while, Gu Jusi suddenly became suspicious. Then why were you in such a hurry to arrange the marriage? Jiang Ro took his hand and explained, your maternal uncle wants to take you to Dongdu, find a position for you, and see if there's a chance for you to be noticed by the princess. But this matter with the princess could ruin the latter half of your future. With your uncle's personality, if he really comes, we won't be able to stop him. Therefore, before he arrives, we must settle your marriage. You haven't taken a liking to any girl for so long, so it was all the same anyway. However, Gu Jusi refused to understand these words, still retorting full of frustration. Nonsense. I won't go, my uncle can't force me either. That's just an excuse. Jiang Ro added helplessly, no matter what kind of family we are still helpless before power. Jusi. Gu Jusi still refused to listen. Turning to leave, he said, I don't want to get married. I'm going to call off the engagement right now. Seeing this, Gulanghua directly gave an order. Men, seize him for me. In an instant, the subordinates complied, and Gu Jusi was tied up tightly on the ground. Looking at him, Gulanghua spoke, lock him in his room. Before the wedding, no one is to let him out. This sentence made Gu Jusi's face darken, filled with panic and helplessness. From outside, loud shouts could be heard. Help! Open the door. The old master of the Gu family is selling his son, forcing his son to be a husband. I'm going to die. Is anyone there? I'm really going to die. Open the door quickly. Although he was screaming himself hoarse inside, the guards outside paid no mind. In this situation, Gu Jusi could only helplessly tell himself, that old man is really determined to lock me up. I've screamed my voice hoarse, and no one cares. So be it, I'll just go back and wait. As soon as he finished speaking, he looked at Liu Yuru's letter and thought to himself, this letter from Liu Yuru is actually quite well written. The words sincerely describe the suffering she endures at home, and then she asked for my help in dealing with the matter of the discarded land deeds. Although I despise her, I despise the Liu family's concubine even more. My family has 5 shops. There's no way I'm letting that concubine benefit. I'll help her this one time. After thinking for a moment, Gu Jusi called out, someone, I want to see my mother. Jiang Ro brought him some food and said gently, son, you must have screamed your voice hoarse. I've had someone make some pear soup for you. Drink it while it's hot. Gu Jusi looked at her and said, mother, I have something to ask of you. Jiang Ro replied at once, go ahead and say it. Gu Jusi scratched his nose and said a bit sheepishly, well, since this marriage can't be changed, Liu Yuru is now considered part of the Gu family. As you know, these betrothal gifts will probably fall into the hands of that concubine. It's disgusting. Upon hearing this, Jiang Ro understood his meaning at once. I understand. I've also thought about this. So this time, I've already put her name on the deeds for the most valuable properties in the betrothal gifts. When we deliver the gifts, I will have Miss Liu's birth mother come and handle the betrothal matters. After saying this, she couldn't help but rejoice silently. He says he doesn't want to, but isn't he still very concerned about his bride-to-be? Gu Jusi continued, whatever. It's just a small favor on the side. I just find that family's concubine disgusting. There's no other meaning to it. Looking at him, Jiang Ro smiled and replied, such a clumsy denial. At Lu Yuru's place, her mother was talking to her. All right, I understand. It's been half a month, and the Gu family still hasn't delivered the betrothal gifts. Lu Yuru replied, everything on the betrothal gift list that needs to be prepared is already prepared. Perhaps the land transfer is taking some time. Her mother continued, what about after your father stayed the night with Yin? Her mother smiled and replied, I did as you said and didn't immediately elevate Yin's status. Perhaps your father feels guilty, so he doesn't dare say anything to Zhang Yuer. Every day, he uses the excuse of looking for me to come and see Yin. He has probably become a bit more sensible, and the relationship has eased. Your father treats me much better now. Just then, Yin Hong ran in from outside to announce, Madam, young miss, the Gu family has brought the betrothal gifts. Concubine Zhang invites you both over. Upon hearing this, Lu Yuru said, got it, we'll go over right away. Her mother couldn't help but be curious. Didn't Zhang Yuer always handle matters like this before? Why is she being so kind today? Lu Yuru smiled and explained, Mother, that was before. Now, father definitely feels some guilt and pity towards you. For a major event like his daughter's marriage, how could he not let the birth mother handle it? Mother, let's go. We shouldn't keep Madame Gu waiting. Immediately, she helped her mother over to meet Madame Gu, politely greeting father concubine Zhang Madame Gu. The moment Jiang Ro saw Lu Yuru, she was extremely pleased. Lu Yuru gently helped her mother to sit down. Jiang Ro, who was sitting to one side, immediately spoke up. Today, I have brought the land and field deeds for the betrothal gifts. Logically speaking, the betrothal gifts brought to the Lu family should be left to Yuru's siblings, but Yuru has no older brother. Furthermore, the value of our betrothal gifts is substantial. It would be difficult for you to prepare a sufficient dowry for Yuru, so I have decisively put the names on these fertile fields and shops in Yuru's name. You all just need to prepare some gold and silver as her dowry. Upon hearing this, Zhang Yuer was utterly stunned and bewildered. What? You put Yuru's name on the land deeds? Lu Yuru was also filled with astonishment at this, unable to help but think to herself, my name? But didn't Gu Jusi disagree? Zhang Yuer forced a smile and said, Madame Gu must be joking. Yuru still has 2 younger brothers. How can you say she has no brothers? As soon as she heard this, Jiang Ro replied, younger brothers? Then it seems I was not well informed. I had previously heard that the first madam only had 1 daughter and had not raised any other children under her name. So it turns out the first madam has 2 sons? Lu Yuru's mother quickly answered, there are no other children under my name. In the next second, Jiang Ro asked in confusion. Then, Lu Xian explained awkwardly, my 2 sons were both born to concubine you. As soon as she heard that, Jiang Ro broke into a smile, then calmly said, Old Master Lu, the difference between a legitimate child and a concubine's child is clear. Which family uses a concubine's child to inherit the position? Yuru is the legitimate daughter. Her status is not the same as those of the concubine's children. This statement of hers directly left Zhang Yuer openly stunned. Lu Xian could only grit his teeth and endure it without saying a word. Lu Yuru, on the other hand, was very surprised, thinking to herself, being slapped in the face publicly like this is a first. But so what if they are? This is Madame Gu of the Gu family in Yangzhou. What can they do? At this moment, I seem to feel an unprecedented sense of glee. It's the first time I've met a woman who can calmly drink tea while slapping my father and concubine mother squarely in the face like this. Looking at Jiang Ro, Lu Yuru said to herself, marrying into the Gu family doesn't seem to be a bad choice after all. A loud voice rang out. Then even if it's not changed to Yuru's brothers' names, it should be changed to our old master's name, shouldn't it? The betrothal gifts you wanted to put in Yuru's name, haven't they already been brought back? To Zhang Yuer's question, Jiang Ro simply replied calmly, Madam Yu, this is the second point I considered. If our Gu residents were changed the name on the property deeds to Old Master Lu's name, I wonder how much dowry the Lu residence intends to give? This statement silenced Zhang Yuer, who could only endure it until she trembled. Lu Xian suddenly interjected at this moment. What does Madame Gu think is reasonable? Jiang Ro smiled and replied, Old Master Lu is joking. I was merely asking. The specifics are still a matter for your Lu family. It's not like we are greedy for a young lady's dowry. It's just that the dowry is the new bride's face, and I was afraid the first madam lacked experience. So I came specially to ask a little. Lu Yuru's mother hurriedly spoke up. However, Before she could say more than a few words, Zhang Yue cut in. This matter won't trouble my elder sister. Madame Gu can just ask me. At this point, Jiang Ro suddenly asked a sensitive question. So this Liu household is currently not managed by the first madam, but by a concubine? Lu Xian glanced at his wife, who was enduring in silent anger, not knowing how to explain. Zhang Yue, sitting to one side, immediately smiled and interjected. Madame Gu may not know, but our first madam is not in good health, so she usually lets me help out. As soon as Jiang Ro heard this, she asked, so you're also helping with her biological daughter's dowry? The moment she finished speaking, Lu Xian angrily slammed the table and turned to Zhang Yue, reminding her, when Madame Gu is speaking, is there a place for you to talk so much? Then he gently said to the first madam, Madam, since this matter of the dowry is under your management, you should discuss it further with Madame Gu. Lu Yuru's mother quickly replied, Thank you, old master. Madame Gu, I have also been preparing Yuru's dowry for these past few years. Meanwhile, outside, the trees were still incredibly lush, the light shining brightly. Lu Yuru lay on the bed, sleeping with a slightly uncomfortable expression. In her dream, she was frantically running away from thick smoke and fire. Behind her, countless hands were reaching out for Lu Yuru. In the next second, a man suddenly grabbed Lu Yuru tightly, laughing sinisterly as he said, Before, this old master wanted you, but you acted all high and mighty with me. Now, haven't you fallen to the fate of being sold into a brothel? In this situation, she could only cry helplessly and beg, Don't, please don't, please don't. As the words left her lips, Lu Yuru jolted awake from the nightmare. Looking at the wedding paper cutouts pasted on the wall, she thought to herself, I've already accepted the Gu family's betrothal gifts, and the wedding day is set. Even the quilt and pillows with mandarin ducks playing in water have been embroidered. I can no longer turn back. Seeing her looking tired, In Hong immediately approached and asked with concern, Young miss, it's time to change into the wedding dress. What's wrong, young miss? Your forehead is covered in sweat. Lu Yuru didn't answer, only thinking to herself, I've never believed in ghosts or spirits, but the dream was too real, it's hard not to feel uneasy. In Hong continued to ask, full of worry, Is the young miss too nervous? Lu Yuru gently replied, It's nothing, help me change. Then she became pensive again. Marrying Gu Jusi is unchangeable. I can't ruin this arranged marriage because of a dream like that. While dressing Lu Yuru in the wedding gown, In Hong said, This wedding dress, young miss, you embroidered it with every single stitch, and you said that later when you marry young Master Yi. Lu Yuru's mother, hearing this from afar, immediately reminded her, From now on, you are not to mention anyone from the Yi family again. In Hong smiled and replied, My apologies, madam. With a face full of sorrow, one name still appeared in Lu Yuru's heart, Yi Shuren. In her memory, back then, Lu Yuru was introduced by Yi Shuren's younger sister. Big brother, her name is Lu Yuru. She is my best friend. Yi Shuren, with a scholarly air, smiled and replied, Hello, sister, my name is Yi Shuren. Looking at his handsome face, Lu Yuru blushed and said, Hello. In her stream of thought, from the first time she learned at the age of 8 that she had to marry someone, she had thought that person was Yi Shuren. Even though she and Yi Shuren had only exchanged a few words as children, and after he went to Bailu Academy at the age of 13, they never met again. I'm not even sure if I liked Yi Shuren himself or the years of expectation in my heart. Regardless, he was the person I'd held on to the longest and most seriously in my life. But now I have to give up. I wholeheartedly wanted to marry Yi Shuren, put in so much effort, but in the end, it was all for nothing. Turning around, I'm about to marry the man I found most disagreeable in my life. The more she thought about it, the more Lu Yuru's tears fell. Seeing this, her mother, standing beside her combing her hair, said, If you were a man, you could call off the marriage. It's a pity you're a girl. Mother understands your suffering. I understand all. It's because your mother is useless and can't help you. As she spoke, she hugged Lu Yuru tightly, and she also cried out in sorrow, Mother. The two of them just held each other, choked with emotion. After a while, Lu Yuru tried to wipe away her tears and said, Mother, it's okay. Don't be sad. People say it's good luck for a bride to cry when she gets married. I'm just crying a little for show. Come on, let's do my makeup. It's okay. Lu Yuru's mother said gently, Mother can't help you with anything. Don't worry about me. I'm not worried either. If you want to cry, just cry. I won't worry. Right after that, Lu Yuru had her makeup done. After a while, with an exquisitely beautiful appearance, she put on the wedding dress in preparation for the wedding. Her mother couldn't help but remind her, Yuru, after you enter the Gu family, you can only rely on yourself. Mother will be waiting for you outside. Lu Yuru sat demurely on the bed, waiting for her husband. In the next second, someone kicked the door and burst in. It was none other than Gu Jusi. He said coldly, "Let's go. Follow me quickly." As she took hold of the other end of the red wedding sash, Lu Yuru thought to herself, anyone who didn't know better would think this is an elopement. It's an auspicious day, so I won't argue with you for now. Just as she stepped outside, her foot tripped, and Lu Yuru lost her balance and fell forward. Gu Jusi had to quickly step forward to catch her. As he steadied her, he complained, "You even fall while walking, so troublesome." Following behind Gu Jusi, Lu Yuru said softly, "Thank you." Gu Jusi immediately replied, I was afraid you'd fall and implicate my Gu family, making us the laughingstock of the whole city. There are more steps ahead. Be careful." Hearing this, Lu Yuru smiled and thought to herself, this Gu Jusi really says one thing, but means another. Outside, the bridal sedan was ready, with many people standing around watching. As soon as Lu Yuru got into the sedan, a loud voice called out, "The bride is in the sedan lift." The surrounding crowd watched the joyous scene and chattered. The Gu family's big brother is getting a bride. A wedding. Congratulations, old Master Gu. Just as the bridal sedan was making its way down the street, a figure suddenly flashed past. Lu Yuru sat in the sedan chair, frowning dejectedly. Right at that moment, she suddenly heard a voice from outside. "Young master, please slow down." Upon hearing this, Lu Yuru's eyes widened in surprise as she thought to herself, there are many people called Young Master in Yangzhou, but for some reason, I really want to see if it's him. As soon as the thought finished, she immediately lifted the curtain. The moment she saw the young man in front of her, Lu Yuru recognized him at once. It's Yi Shuren. With a dazed expression, she couldn't help but think, he's back. Yi Shuren just finished the provincial examination. Logically, he should have rested for a few days, so why is he back early? He wouldn't. However, in the next second, Lu Yuru tried to stop her train of thought. Don't think about it anymore. This line of thinking is too dangerous right now. Once I go over there, the life of Miss Lu will have ended and a new chapter of life will begin. At the Gu residence, everything had been prepared beautifully and meticulously. A voice called out, "The bride is invited to alight from the sedan." Once inside the house, Lu Yuru and Gu Jusi performed the ceremony, first bow to heaven and earth. Zhou Wanxiong looked at Gu Jusi and cheerfully congratulated him. Happy wedding, Jusi. I didn't expect that out of us 3 brothers, you'd be the first to get married. Gu Jusi's face didn't show a hint of happiness as he replied, "It's not like I wanted to." In the evening, under a sky full of twinkling stars inside the room, In-hong couldn't help but remind her, "Young miss, you haven't eaten anything since early this morning. Would you like to eat something? We don't know when young Master Gu will be back from entertaining the guests." Lu Yuru refused to listen, declining. "No, the ceremony forbids lowering the fan. Lowering the round fan is inauspicious. I can't even eat on my wedding day." Just then, In-hong suddenly changed the subject. "I saw young Master Yi outside today." Upon hearing this, Lu Yuru immediately reminded her, "In-hong, be careful. Now that I have married into the Gu family, I'm a member of the Gu family. Yesterday's matters are dead. If you mention it again and someone overhears, it will not be good." Hearing this, In-hong said no more and obediently replied, "Yes." At that moment, a knock suddenly came from the door, filling Lu Yuru with doubt. "Is that Gu Jusi?" Yi Yun, the eldest miss of the Yi family, entered with a beautiful and charming face, speaking softly. "Madam, Gu told me to come and keep the bride company. You may all leave." Upon seeing her, Lu Yuru was incredibly surprised and astonished, calling out, "Yuna!" Outside, the wedding lanterns still brightly lit up the entire sky. Inside the room, Yi Yun spoke gently. "There's no one else here now, and I'm here to keep you company. You can put the fan down. When Gu Jusi comes later, you can just cover up again." Lu Yuru, still covering her face, calmly replied, "The rules cannot be broken. We can talk like this just fine." Upon hearing this, Yi Yun immediately chided her. You open your mouth and speak of rules. Yet in your heart, you are more ambitious than anyone. You're not the same on the inside as you're on the outside. You will suffer for it later." Hearing these words, Lu Yuru wanted to retort but stopped herself, then couldn't help but think sadly to herself, "Forget it. I'm already married to someone as his wife. It's not appropriate to ask about Yi Shuren's situation." Just then, Yi Yun suddenly announced, "That's right. My brother heard the news of your engagement to the Gu family and returned earlier than planned. Did you know?" This took Lu Yuru by complete surprise. Yi Yun continued, "Yuru, don't blame my brother for this. He said he would follow the family's arrangement for the engagement, but then the Gu family came to propose to my grandmother. But let's forget it. Anyway, the Gu family is not an easy family to get along with, and you know my grandmother's personality." Upon hearing this, Lu Yuru felt so wrong that tears welled up in her eyes as she thought to herself. A prestigious family like the Yi family would absolutely never let their eldest son marry a woman who was already engaged. Even if they really wanted to contend with the Gu family, it would absolutely not be for an ordinary girl like Lu Yuru. So from the beginning, I never held out hope for the Yi family. Yi Yin, meanwhile, continued to speak. But my brother doesn't think that way. He said a gentleman keeps his word, and the Yi family should have gone to the Gu family to clarify the matter. Old Master Gu is a reasonable man and wouldn't use his power to bully people. That's why he came back this time. Before she could finish her sentence, Lu Yuru cut in. But it's too late. Yin forced a smile and replied, "Since things are already like this, marrying Gu Jusi isn't necessarily a bad thing. My brother only looks decent, but in reality, he is a cold person, single-mindedly focused on his studies. Being his wife would be very difficult. Although Gu Jusi is immature, his family not only has power and influence, but most importantly, he likes you. He was willing to buy out an entire rouge shop just to gift you one box of rouge. Everyone admires that. Yuru, don't hate my brother, and don't be sad. You will have a good life in the future." Lu Yuru calmly replied, "Don't worry, I've thought it through." Hearing this, Yiyun breathed a sigh of relief and said, "That's good." Leaning against Lu Yuru, she added, "I haven't been sleeping well lately because of this. I was afraid you would hate my family, hate my brother, and I was also afraid you wouldn't live well, afraid you would ignore me from now on. We grew up together, closer than sisters. Don't let this distance us." Lu Yuru sadly replied, "I won't." Just then, she suddenly asked softly, "Ayun, I'm a little tired. Can you let me rest for a while?" Yiyun obediently complied and agreed at once. "Then you should rest. I'll head out first." The next second, the sound of the door closing was heard. Alone, Lu Yuru was filled with sorrow and cried ceaselessly. "If I had never had it, perhaps it would be nothing, but the person I wanted was once so close to being mine. Young Master Yi actually wanted to marry me too. How can this make me content? I hate the Gu family for destroying half a lifetime of my efforts. I hate the childish Gu Jusi." Gu Jusi's voice suddenly appeared in her mind. "This life, this lifetime, if it's not you, I won't marry." Jiang Ro's gentle figure also appeared. "Old Master Lu, there is a difference between the legitimate and the concubine-born. What wealthy family would let a concubine's son inherit? Yuru is the eldest daughter. Her status is different." The image of Gu Jusi helping Lu Yuru up while reminding her, "You even fall while walking? How troublesome." The more she thought, the more helpless she felt. But I cannot deny that, faced with Jiang Ro's kindness and Gu Jusi's concern, I can't bring myself to hate them. I don't know who to blame for my fate. I can only hide under the fan and cry silently. As a woman, what choice do I have? Since I'm already married, then I should just securely sit in the position of Madame Gu and not repeat the farce of the Lu family. Just then, a loud voice came from outside. "I'm not going in. Let me go, you rotten old man." It was Gu Jusi. He was being pushed into the bridal chamber by his family. With the door shut tight, a furious Gu Jusi shouted, "Let me out! Gu Langhua, if you have the guts, then let me out. I'm already married. What more are you doing? Must you force me to my death?" Under these circumstances, Gu Langhua quickly responded, "Shut up. Close the windows for me. If he dares to go out today, break his legs. You all guard him carefully." Gu Jusi tried to bang on the door relentlessly. In his hopelessness, he kept shouting, "Huffed, you old swindler. You said it would be over after the wedding. Why are you locking me up? You didn't keep your word. You'd better let me out, or this won't be over between us." However, even though Gu Jusi shouted until his voice was hoarse, there was no response. This made Gu Jusi feel utterly helpless. As he sat down on a chair, he muttered to himself, "The damn old man." Just then, Lu Yuru, sitting not far away, was staring at him intently. This startled Gu Jusi so much he spat out his water. The next second, he turned to ask, "You, what are you doing sitting there holding a fan? You're not asleep yet?" Lu Yuru calmly replied, "My husband has not yet arrived, and the ceremony has not been performed. How would Yuru dare to sleep?" Hearing this, Gu Jusi was filled with doubt. "You don't know how to put it down yourself?" Lu Yuru didn't answer, just kept staring at him intently. This made Gu Jusi extremely confused, and he immediately chided, "Are you sitting there playing dead? Don't scare people in the middle of the night. Hurry up and go to sleep." Lu Yuru said softly, "My husband has not yet drunk the nuptial wine with me." The more Gu Jusi heard, the more stunned and dumbfounded he became. He asked with a full of doubt, "Were you really willing to marry me?" Gu Jusi asked with a serious face, "Were you really willing to marry me?" Hearing this, Lu Yuru remained silent. Seeing this, Gu Jusi scratched his face and added hesitantly, "Actually, I also know that none of the young ladies in Yangzhou City like me. I don't want people to like me either. In this life, I just want to marry someone who likes being with me, to live a lifetime in harmony." Hearing this, Lu Yuru asked, "So?" Gu Jusi quickly approached her, handing her a cup of tea while smiling and saying, "Miss Lu, I know you are actually an intelligent woman, so I want to negotiate with you. I know the person you like isn't me. How about this? In the future, I'll let you manage the household. You can take the money and start a business. Wait until you are capable. Then if you like someone or I like someone, we can have an amicable divorce, all right?" As soon as he finished speaking, Lu Yuru's face became utterly stunned and bewildered. Meanwhile, Gu Jusi continued calmly, "I've thought about it. You women care about your reputation in order to marry a good man, to live a good life. So if you can make a good life for yourself, then let people say whatever they want. It doesn't matter, right? A person's life is only a few decades long. No one should have to wrong themselves. Miss Lu, in the future, when you become a businesswoman, you will naturally meet someone who truly loves you. If you don't meet anyone, it's fine to live alone. And I might meet a young lady I like, and I absolutely will not wrong her. Of course, if I don't meet anyone, that's fine too. I can also be on my own." As soon as he finished speaking, Lu Yuru, filled with indignation and with tears welling in her eyes, asked, "If you don't like me, why did you marry me?" Gu Jusi immediately put the teacup on the table, then replied firmly, "I should be the one asking you that. If you don't like me, why did you want to marry me? You agreeing to this marriage has put us both in a difficult position. If I didn't marry you, you would have died. But by marrying you, I have to bury this life of mine. I can't just sit here and wait to die." As he spoke, he cheerfully approached Lu Yuru. "We can negotiate. I believe that one day you will agree to an amicable divorce with me." The moment he finished speaking, Gu Jusi received a slap from Lu Yuru. She, filled with rage, screamed, "Get out! Get out from me!" Gu Jusi's face was red from the slap. Lu Yuru, on the other hand, paid no mind and couldn't help but break down, crying in sorrow and helplessness. Her heart was filled with one thought: how did I end up marrying such a person? What he said sounds easy, but I'm afraid that if I really get a divorce from him, I'll be drowned by the saliva of the world. I also can't explain why I wanted to marry him. If he really has thoughts of divorcing me, then they won't just let me go, and they absolutely won't let me live in peace. My mother will be my cautionary tale. Now, not only could I not marry Yishuren, but even Gu Jusi wants to divorce me. What prospects do I have left? Seeing Lu Yuru crying nonstop, Gu Jusi hurriedly asked, "No, wait, I'm the one who got hit. What are you crying for?" However, the more he spoke, the louder Lu Yuru cried, making Gu Jusi extremely awkward. "Stop crying. I won't say any more. Your crying is giving me a headache. Forget it. Have you eaten anything?" As he finished speaking, he turned to look at the table of food in front of him, thinking to himself, "I was beaten by my father early this morning, then forced to drink at the banquet, and I haven't even eaten. I don't know how long Lu Yuru plans to cry. Maybe I should eat something first. I don't understand how someone can cry like that. She likes Yishuren, and I'm showing her a way out, yet she doesn't even appreciate it. My kindness is not being valued." As soon as he finished this thought, Gu Jusi brought some food towards Lu Yuru and said, "Stop crying. Eat something. You'll feel better after eating something." Lu Yuru ignored his words and just screamed furiously, "Get out!" The more he heard, the more annoyed Gu Jusi became, and he frowned. He directly smashed the plate of food on the ground, then said loudly, "What on earth are you crying about? Didn't I say we could get a divorce in the future? When the time comes, I'll arrange a way out for you. What are you afraid of? The person you like isn't it, Yi?" Before he could finish his words, Gu Jusi's face froze. Then, he spoke with great embarrassment. "Wait, you don't like me, do you?" He couldn't help but feel secretly happy in his heart. After so many years, this is the first time someone has liked me. Thinking of this, Gu Jusi continued to say, "I understand your intentions, but I don't like your type. If you want money, that's easy. Many people wanting my heart is difficult." Seeing Lu Yuru still crying incessantly, Gu Jusi sat closer to her, staring intently as he helplessly thought to himself. Before, he was angry that Lu Yuru married and only for money, but now, after knowing she's not after money but after him, it's quite a headache. The woman I like must naturally have a certain flair, completely different from this world. The assertive woman he likes must be someone who would boldly pin him to the wall and declare that she will come to propose tomorrow. The more he thought, the more Gu Jusi was certain of the type that captivates people at first sight. But Lu Yuru is too ordinary, too conventional. Even if she sacrificed too much by marrying me, I can't accept her feelings. Thinking of this, Gu Juicy moved closer to Lu Yuru to comfort her. Don't cry anymore. The future is long. Just take your time to think. Although I don't like you, you've already married me. My father and mother will be good to you. Don't worry. However, Lu Yuru frowned and immediately retorted, I didn't marry your father and mother. This left Gu Juicy with no other choice but to offer a stack of money to her and say cheerfully, here, you must be tired from crying. Hug this silver and go to sleep. Tomorrow, after you've rested, I'll take you out to spend money. Love is harmful to the body. Only wealth is the most important. You're a smart person. You surely understand this principle, right? At this point, Gu Juicy couldn't help but gently remove the hairpin from Lu Yuru's head, then gently tucked her into bed. After a moment, Gu Juicy sighed in complete helplessness and muttered to himself, why is a man like me facing such a heavy and complicated emotional problem? My heart is so tired. Looking at Lu Yuru sleeping on the bed, Gu Juicy thought to himself, no, I can't resign myself to fate like this. I must resist Gu Langhua. I must make Lu Yuru give up her feelings for me. I will use my actions to show my rebellion. At this moment, outside, the subordinates were slowly removing the wooden planks blocking the door, calling out, young master. However, Gu Juicy had already run off long ago, which made them panic and shout loudly, no, this is bad. The young master has run away. In another place, as soon as he sat down at the dining table, Su Wenxiong spoke up, congratulations to you and sister-in-law. However, before he could finish his sentence, Gu Juicy cut in. Stop with the congratulations. I feel like my head is about to explode. Seeing Gu Juicy so helpless, Chun Sun couldn't help but reassure him. It's just marrying a woman. It's not a big deal. Doesn't Lu Yuru just want the status of the Gu family's madam? Just give it to her, and we can continue to have fun as we please later. You don't need to worry. Gu Juicy replied with a bewildered expression. No, it would be great if she were only after the Gu family's money. The problem is I just found out last night she didn't come for the money. Upon hearing this, Su Wenxiong curiously asked, then what did she come for? Gu Juicy's face suddenly turned red, and he said shyly, she came for me. She likes me. As soon as he heard this, Chen Sun was so surprised that he spat water all over Su Wenxiong's face. What? Chen Sun, while wiping Su Wenxiong's face, said sheepishly, sorry, I was too surprised. Gu Juicy quickly chimed in. I was also very shocked when I found out. If she wanted money, it would be better, but she wants this heart, and I don't know what to do. Hearing this, Su Wenxiong understood the problem and asked, so you came today wanting us two brothers to think of a way to make her give up? Gu Juicy replied, the sooner she gives up, the sooner she lets go, to prevent her from getting in deeper, which would also put me in a difficult position. Just then, Chun Sun suddenly smiled and interjected, this is easy. Making a woman give up is simple. This made Gu Juicy curious. Tell me how? Su Wenxiong smiled and suggested, sleep at Chunfeng Pavilion for 3 days. I guarantee she will give up. Upon hearing that, Gu Juicy thought to himself, Chunfeng Pavilion, the last time I went seemed to be to celebrate Su Wenxiong's birthday. And I even bid for the top courtesan on her first night as a gift for him. Though I'm not interested. The more he thought, the more sinister his smile became. But for a woman, what could be more frightening than her husband going to a brothel the day after their wedding? And as for Gu Langhua, wouldn't this make him die of anger? Then, in the next second, Gu Juicy immediately made a decision. All right, we're going to Chunfeng Pavilion. The next morning, a voice called out from inside the room. Young miss. Looking at Lu Yuru's listless face, In Hong couldn't help but worry. Young miss, what's wrong with you? Are you unwell somewhere? Young miss, please say something. What did the young master do to you last night? Why are you still wearing your wedding dress? You two haven't consummated the marriage? With a dazed face and vacant eyes, Lu Yuru replied, In Hong, he wants to leave me. This made In Hong extremely surprised. What? Lu Yuru helplessly buried her face and cried, continuing to lament. He said it. He doesn't like me. In the future, there will be someone he likes, and he wants to treat that person well. So sooner or later, he will leave me, telling me to plan for it early. The more In Hong heard, the more flustered she became, calling out, Young miss. With a dazed face, Lu Yuru added, In Hong, what should I do? What should I do? If I am abandoned or unloved in the Gu family, what will happen to my mother? This time, my mother personally prepared my dowry, bringing so much property over here. If the Gu family doesn't protect us, when Zhang Yuer's power is restored, how will my mother survive? The more she thought, the more aggrieved she felt, 2 streams of tears flowing down her face. In-hong also sank down at her feet in distress and comforted her. Young miss, the young master must just be joking. He doesn't know how good you are yet. When he realizes it, he won't have enough time to love and cherish you. How could he leave you? Lu Yuru remained silent upon hearing these words. In-hong continued to add, now that it has come to this, young miss, don't be discouraged. In-hong will accompany you to serve tea to Madame Gu and Old Master Gu to make a good impression on them. Perhaps there's still a chance to turn things around. After all, it was the Gu family who came to propose, and Madame Gu is also very pleased with you. However, Lu Yuru had no strength left, only replying listlessly, just say I'm sick. I'm really very tired right now. Seeing this, In-hong didn't try to persuade her further, only obediently saying, yes, young miss, I will go and report to Old Master Gu and Madame Gu right away. In-hong also seemed to feel immense sympathy for Lu Yuru, thinking to herself, no matter how smart and clever the young miss is, in the end, she is just a 15-year-old girl. Outside the room, a loud voice suddenly rang out. Old Master, this is bad. The eldest young master has gone to Chunfeng Pavilion. Upon hearing that, Lu Yuru froze, completely dazed and bewildered, muttering to herself. Chunfeng Pavilion, the most famous pleasure quarter in Yangzhou. On a tree branch, two small birds were chirping to each other. Inside the residence, a loud voice suddenly rang out. Old Master, this is bad. The eldest young master has gone to Chunfeng Pavilion. Upon hearing this, Gu Langhua became extremely furious. This brat, he truly has no respect for anyone anymore. In the current situation, In-hong could only helplessly assess in her mind, going to a brothel on the second day after getting married. This dandy, even for a loafer, is being too licentious. Meanwhile, Gu Langhua, with a darkened face, held a cane and said, let's see how I'll deal with you. However, before he could do anything, he was immediately reminded by Jiang Ro sitting beside him. Old Master, he's a married man now. You can't keep managing him like a child. Gu Langhua frowned and replied, if I don't manage him, won't he just fly away? Which family's young master abandons his new bride to go to a brothel the day after the wedding? This is too much, Jiang Ro gently explained. Have you not beaten him enough these past 2 years? Isn't he going to the brothel this time also because he's angry at you? From the very beginning, he was prejudiced against this marriage. If you stand up for Yuru today and drag him back for a beating, he and Yuru will resent each other. How will they live together in the future? After hearing Jiang Ro's persuasive words, Gu Langhua also sat down helplessly and said, then you manage him. Let's see what brilliant ideas you have. Jiang Ro smiled and said, the problem doesn't lie with us, but with Yuru. In the next second, she turned to ask In-hong, is your young miss available to see guests right now? In-hong hesitated and did not answer. Seeing this, Jiang Ro seemed to understand the hidden meaning and said, if she won't come to see me, then I'll go see her. At Lu Yuru's room, a call came from outside. Yuru. In the next second, Jiang Ro slowly walked in with a gentle voice. I heard you weren't feeling well, so I came to visit you. Are you feeling any better? Upon seeing her, Lu Yuru struggled to stand up to perform a courtesy, Madame Gu. However, Jiang Ro immediately reminded her, if you're not feeling well, you don't need to get up. Our family doesn't have so many formalities. As she approached Lu Yuru, Jiang Ro asked, what happened between you and Jusi last night? Did Jusi say something improper to you? Before coming to propose, I made inquiries, and everyone said you were a well-bred young lady who observed propriety. Why is it not so now that you've married into our family? With eyes full of despondence, Lu Yuru replied, Madame Gu, I was originally unwilling to marry. This made Jiang Ro incredibly surprised and astonished. But when I came to propose, your stepmother said that you admired Jusi. Lu Yuru could only give a bitter smile and explain, Madame Jiang, surely you are aware of my family situation? How can my stepmother's words be trusted? Jiang Ro still found it a bit hard to believe and replied, but your father was right there. Your family, you. With faltering words, she couldn't help but think in bewilderment. I know the Lu family's internal affairs are not peaceful, but I heard that even though Lu Xian favors his concubine over his wife, he has never mistreated his children. For all these years, you Lu Yuru have been fed and raised like a legitimate daughter. Moreover, parents always have a deep affection for their firstborn. How could Lu Xian allow a concubine to run rampant in the matter of his daughter's marriage without intervening at all? After thinking for a moment, Jiang Ro asked, "Then let me ask you, did your family and the Yi family really have engagement?" Lu Yuru said immediately, "There was an intention to form a marriage alliance. Old Madam, Yi personally came to my house to act as a matchmaker, and my family had already agreed. We were just waiting for young Master Yi to return from the provincial examination to come and propose." Upon hearing this, Jiang Ro shot up to her feet, annoyed, and said loudly, "This is truly absurd." In her heart, she couldn't help but think, "I spent so much effort to arrange this marriage. The son is unwilling, the girl is not willing, and we even offended the Yi family. No wonder Yuru has such an attitude today. But what's done is done. Perhaps the two of them are even more confused than we are. We have to find a way to resolve this." In the current situation, Jiang Ro could only approach and apologize to Lu Yuru. "Miss Lu, this matter is due to our Gu family's carelessness for not thoroughly investigating your engagement with the Yi family. I apologize to you for this mistake. I hope you can forgive me." Lu Yuru replied with an unchanging expression. "A private matter like this isn't something outsiders should know. Madam, you had good intentions, but it would have been difficult to know the truth. I do not blame you for this, madam." Hearing this, Jiang Ro suddenly asked with doubt, "But now that things are like this, what are your plans, Miss Lu?" Lu Yuru answered, "The marriage has been set. The wedding is over. Am I supposed to let Gu Jusi actually abandon me? I have already come to the Gu family. I just want to live a peaceful life. What other choice do I have?" As she spoke, she trembled and tightly gripped the hem of her dress. Lu Yuru, filled with helplessness, poured out all her feelings. "But it's not that I don't want to. It's Gu Jusi who doesn't want to, isn't it? Madam, on our wedding night, he said he wanted to abandon me. Now he's nowhere to be found. Madam, tell me, how am I supposed to go on living? I have already accepted my fate. Marrying someone like him, I dare not hope for much in this life. But at the very least, I should be allowed to live in peace. If he truly abandons me, isn't that forcing me to my death?" As she said this, tears welled up in Lu Yuru's eyes. Jiang Ro, sitting beside her, immediately comforted her. "So, Yuru, you want us to help you find Gu Jusi and bring him back, is that right?" With tears streaming down her face, Lu Yuru spoke. "And what if you find him? Find him, and he'll leave again. Find him again, and he'll leave again. Over and over. Am I supposed to follow him and become the laughingstock of all of Yangzhou? Let be. I accept it. That's just the kind of person he is. Madam Gu, just let me stay in the Gu family. Giving me a meal is enough. I don't want to scheme anymore. I don't want to care anymore. I can't take it anymore. I can't take it." As soon as the words left her mouth, she was lost in her own thoughts. The image of a frantic and worried Lu Yuru suddenly appeared. A hand that seemed as if it could reach the oasis in the desert, but in the end, it couldn't. Time and again, toyed with by fate, time and again, unstable. I thought a bright path was right before my eyes, yet I suddenly fell into a deep abyss. I have been so careful all these years, yet in the end, I still ended up at this point. I don't want to fight, nor do I dare to fight anymore. Jiang Ro gently reassured her. "Miss Lu, if you've cried enough, then stop. After crying, you must stand up. That is the right thing to do. I know you have much suffering in your heart, but when a person falls, if they get up, they can still keep going. If you lie there and never get up, then your path ends here." Lu Yuru, with tears streaming down her face, replied in anguish, "Who doesn't know this principle? But Madame Gu this path. I cannot see it." Upon hearing this, Jiang Ro explained, "I know you're not satisfied with Gu Jusi. You feel he is a playboy, good for nothing. Compared to Yi Shuren, he is indeed not a good husband. But my son is kind-hearted by nature. He has never done anything against his conscience. Except for his love of gambling, he is moderate in all other things. The rumors outside say he spends thousands in gold on the top courtesan at the brothel, but that is only for the sake of his friends. He never gets close to women. What he desires in a wife is one couple for one lifetime. Compared to many men today, at least in matters of affection, he will not treat his wife poorly." After hearing these words, Lu Yuru immediately retorted, "True affection for someone you love is sweet honey, but for someone you don't love, it is poison. Right now, he wants to abandon me. Isn't that also because of his sincere feelings? In that case, I would rather he be a bit more promiscuous, at least to leave me a way to survive." Jiang Ro gently wiped the tears from her face and said, "In this world, there are so many marriages arranged by parents, set up by matchmakers. They all get married, and day by day, living together, they develop feelings for each other. We feel that he likes you. because you're the only person he has ever said he likes, and the only girl he has ever wanted to marry. Even if it was a misunderstanding, in terms of affection, you're already a step ahead of other girls. I'm not telling you to curry favor with him, but at least give him a chance. First, get to know him, acknowledge him. Only then will you have a path forward. But if you plan to lock yourself in this room for the rest of your life, you are only making things difficult for yourself. In that case, your grievances will never end, and your whole life will pass by just like this. I don't expect you and my son to fall in love, but I hope that when you come to the Gu family, you will live sincerely. Whatever I can do to help you, I will. Lu Yuru listened intently, her body trembling. Meanwhile, Jiang Ro continued. Today about Juicy going to Chunfeng Pavilion. What are your thoughts? You can tell me, as long as you are willing to take this step. Upon hearing this, Lu Yuru replied, Chunfeng Pavilion. What if I want Madam to go bring Gu Juicy back right now and punish him severely? She said with a face full of murderous intent. Jiang Ro, on the contrary, was extremely straightforward, replying immediately with a bright smile. All right. Anything else? This made Lu Yuru jump in utter surprise. Madam Gu, this is your son. For you to help me like this, I don't understand. Jiang Ro smiled and explained, I've said it before, I want to build a bond, not an enmity. What Juicy did was wrong. I will not be biased. The Gu family has made you the young madam. I will do my best to steer this marriage in the best possible direction. As long as you are willing to live a proper life. Both Juicy's father and I are broad-minded people. You don't need to worry about observing any formalities. In the future, whether you want to manage the household, do business, or study, I can teach you. As for Juicy's temperament, if he doesn't abandon you, he will definitely not take any concubines. The inner court will be yours to manage. It will surely be peaceful. At that time, Gu Juicy will shield Lu Yuru, and even Zhang Yuer won't be able to do anything. Jiang Ro continued to speak. His going to Chunfeng Pavilion after the wedding was one, due to the misunderstanding that you and his father were in league together. He did it to deliberately anger his father. 2. He doesn't understand your suffering, but you only need to tell him, and he will take on this responsibility and find a way for you. If that's the case, Miss Lu, do you still need me to go bring Juicy back? After listening to her for a while, Lu Yuru replied, let it be. Jiang Ro immediately advised, don't be so quick to reject this marriage. At least try to find out what kind of person Juicy is first. Outside, the sun was still shining brightly. Inhong opened the door, came in, and called out young miss. With a dazed expression, Lu Yuru said, let me think about it. Outside the residence, fresh flowers were blooming everywhere. Gu Langhua was calmly whistling while feeding his pet. Just then, a voice suddenly called out from a distance, Master, madam, the young madam has arrived. This made Gu Langhua jump in alarm. He immediately sat down on a chair and said, I have a restless feeling in my heart. I just feel worried. Jiang Ro, sitting beside him, quickly reminded him, the children's matters, we should just listen, don't interfere. Lu Yuru slowly walked in. The next second, she politely curtsied. A few days ago, Yuru was not well and did not come to greet father and mother. I hope father and mother will forgive me. Upon hearing this, Gu Langhua quickly replied, this is not your fault. It's all because of Juicy, that insolent brat. You just wait, I'll catch him and bring him back, and I'll definitely make him apologize to you. I won't let you suffer this injustice for nothing. Lu Yuru smiled and said, father is joking. The young master is innocent and naive. Yuru understands that. Yuru is already a member of the Gu family. As long as the young master can live well, that is enough. Liking to go out and play is no big deal. Hearing this, a chill ran down Gu Langhua's spine as he thought to himself, what did you say to her? The girl being like this is even more terrifying than her getting angry. My intuition tells me your son is done for. Jiang Ro, sitting beside him, seemed to understand his thoughts and replied with a glance, don't be hasty. Let's hear what Yuru has to say first. Lu Yuru asked gently. Yuru came here today, first, to greet father and mother, and second, to understand the situation in the family, to know if there's anything Yuru needs to pay attention to in the Gu family from now on. Gu Langhua immediately said, actually, there's nothing much. As long as you and Juicy live in harmony, and when you have free time, you can urge him to study harder. That will be enough. Hearing this, Lu Yuru understood and asked again, father's meaning is that you hope the young master will study and improve? Outside, the sun shone brightly, filtering through the canopy of trees and flowers. Lu Yuru asked gently, has madam ever mentioned this intention to the young master before? As soon as she finished speaking, she thought to herself, if they had this intention long ago, with their capabilities, how could they have let Gu Juicy become what he is today? Gu Langhua explained gloomily, then and now are different. Before, We only hoped he would live a happy life. But it's not the same anymore. Now, I hope that in the future he will have the ability to protect himself, even without us." Hearing this, Lu Yuru immediately understood. "You mean, something has happened in the family?" Jiang Ro replied gently. "Although the Gu family are wealthy merchants in Yangzhou, our roots are in Dongdu. My older brother is currently the Minister of Personnel in Dongdu. Currently, the imperial court in Dongdu is unstable. His Majesty has not held court for 3 months. My brother originally intended to bring Jusi to Dongdu, arrange a minor official position for him, and then recommend him to Her Highness the Princess to find a path for his future, but we don't want Jusi to be drawn into this matter." As soon as she finished speaking, she fell into deep thought. His Majesty hasn't held court for 3 months. He might not have much longer. A struggle for the throne will naturally follow, but the current emperor has few children and has already appointed a crown prince. It seems there is no struggle for succession. So what is the Gu family afraid of? At this moment, images from her dream suddenly appeared, with countless sounds and scenes engulfed in smoke and fire. The Gu family is suspected of participating in a rebellion with Prince Liang, an imperial edict to investigate and confiscate assets. Resist the edict, kill without mercy. Save me. Gu Jusi, heavily injured but with a resolute gaze, spoke up. "You say the Gu family colluded with Prince Liang. Do you have any proof? It's obvious you're just jealous of the Gu family's fortune. So you're finding an excuse to seize it." The son of Yangzhou's military governor Wang Shangquan, Wang Rong, snorted coldly and replied, "So what if there's no proof? Prince Liang has rebelled. The world is in chaos. Even Fan Xian, a military governor in Yuzhou, dares to proclaim himself king. Our Wang family is merely following the trend of times." The more she thought, the more worry showed in Lu Yuru's eyes. Meanwhile, Jiang Ro continued to speak. "I don't know what stance my brother in Dongdu has, or if he has ties with any prince. As for me, I will still stand on the side of the emperor. I have no relations with the imperial relatives, but I do have a niece who is a secondary consort to Prince Liang." Upon hearing this, Lu Yuru's face clearly showed her astonishment and surprise. She couldn't help but think to herself, that dream has occurred for the second time. If the first time was just a coincidence, could this second time truly be just a random occurrence? While she was bewildered, Jiang Ro spoke up to remind her, "Yuru, don't just stand there. Your body is just recovered. You shouldn't do strenuous work." Lu Yuru smiled and replied, "Thank you for your concern, madam." Then she sat down on a chair and pondered. If that dream is real, how much longer does the Gu family have? If the Gu family falls, as Gu Jusi's wife, will I be able to escape? After a moment of thought, Lu Yuru spoke again. "If there has been a change in the family's circumstances, and the situation is not as it was before, the young master's temperament indeed needs to change. A man should at least have some skills to rely on himself. He must know how to earn his own living and cannot rely on his parents forever." Gu Langhua shook his head helplessly and said, "That's a matter of course, but we didn't think that far ahead before. Now if I try to control him, he definitely won't listen. Yuru, you've just entered the family. How everyone treats you in the future will depend on the rules set at the beginning. You must set the rules for him and discipline him well on our behalf." Upon hearing this, Lu Yuru gave a forced smile and said, "But if even his parents can't manage him, how can I, his wife, possibly manage him?" As soon as she finished her sentence, Gu Longhua's eyes lit up. Full of confidence, he answered firmly, "Don't worry, I will back you up. I'll assign the 20 best experts in the residence to you. If he doesn't listen, just capture him and bring him back for a lesson." Seeing his attitude, Lu Yuru immediately understood, thinking to herself, "I was just planning to be a layabout." After chatting for a while, Jiang Ro gently reminded her, "Yuru, you must be tired too. Go back and get some rest. From now on, the management of all matters, big and small, in the household will be handed over to you. If there's anything you don't understand, just come and ask me. Once you get used to it, the household's domestic affairs will be fully handed over to you." Upon hearing this, Lu Yuru immediately bowed her head and replied, "I will not disappoint father and mother. I will definitely make him more mature. Mother, I want to get acquainted with everyone in the household. Could you assign a nanny to help me get familiar with things?" Jiang Ro said, "Then I'll have Mother Chin assist you for a while." Immediately, she gave an order. "Wang Shou, gather all the capable people in the household to listen to the young madam's orders." Gu Langhua also chimed in with a serious face. "From now on, whatever the young madam says, you are to do. Don't let the young master bully the young madam." After hearing this, Wang Shou replied loudly, "This subordinate obeys." Outside the mansion, many subordinates had gathered. Lu Yuru was sitting calmly, sipping her tea, then she spoke softly. "From now on, I am your young madam. I hope for everyone's cooperation. Mother has entrusted the household's domestic affairs to me, so I hope everything will be a bit more orderly, a bit cleaner, to avoid disturbing the young master's studies. Do you all understand? The subordinates quickly replied in unison. Understood. Lu Yuru continued. In 7 days, I will issue new rules, and everyone in the residence must abide by them. The first rule is all matters in the Gu residence must prioritize supporting the young master's education. No one is allowed to help the young master do anything detrimental to his studies. Do you all understand? Upon hearing this, all the subordinates bowed their heads in silence. Seeing this, Lu Yuru reminded them in a stern voice, right now, I will immediately go and bring the young master back. If necessary, I will use forceful measures. You are to obey my orders. You are not allowed to retreat, nor are you allowed to resist. Remember well, you must not only manage yourselves, but also cooperate with all my directives. If there is any act of disobedience or resistance, you will all be sold off. Understood? Wang Shou and Mother Chen quickly complied, bowing their heads and replying. Everything will be according to the young madam's direction. Seeing this, the subordinates also immediately bowed their heads and accepted the order. We will all obey the young madam's orders. In this situation, Lu Yuru couldn't help but smile in satisfaction. Outside the main hall, Lu Yuru declared loudly, you all go to the study first, buy everything a scholar should have, like brushes, ink, inkstones, the 4 books, and 5 classics. The subordinates quickly obeyed. Yes, they worked while following Lu Yuru's instructions. The miscellaneous books the young master used to read, the toys, the wine, all the things that disturb his reading are to be collected and await my return for disposal. Also, block the hole in the wall surrounding the backyard. Take away the ladder and hire a craftsman to raise the wall a bit higher to ensure the young master cannot climb out. Just like that, the subordinates obediently built up a sturdy wall. Lu Yuru continued to give orders. In Hong, you go find the young master's private money. Then prepare a bath, hangover soup, and food for him. Also prepare his clothes. Plain garments without patterns, simple styles. These clothes are specifically for him to wear while reading. Yes. With a sinister look in her eyes, Lu Yuru smiled and thought to herself, Wang Shou, is the young master still at Chunfeng Lu? At that moment, she suddenly noticed a sword in the distance. Lu Yuru quickly picked it up, then said, call 40 men to go with me. If I go to this Chunfeng Lu today, my reputation will be completely ruined. The Yi family will probably feel lucky they didn't marry a useless wife like me. As the sedan chair landed, Lu Yuru stepped out with a cold expression. Looking at Chunfeng Lu right in front of her, she thought to herself, if I go to this Chunfeng Lu today, my reputation will be completely ruined. The Yi family will probably feel lucky they didn't marry a useless wife like me. But I have married Gu Jusi, so I must find a path for myself and my future. Only by forcing Gu Jusi to study and become an official will he have a reputation and be bound by the law, preventing him from divorcing me at will. And only if he becomes an official can I become a titled lady, making it so that no one can look down on me and my mother. As she walked, she held the sword in her hand, causing everyone around to be terrified. The tip of the sword pressed hard against the ground, and as she walked, she dragged the sword tip, making everyone extremely bewildered. Is she here to capture Gu Jusi? Isn't this the Lu family's eldest young miss, Lu Yuru? What's she doing here? Lu Yuru glanced around. Not far away, Yi Shuren was calmly drinking wine. Upon hearing the gossip, he thought to himself, Yuru is known for her stable conduct. She wouldn't come to a place like this. While Gu Jusi was still lost in a deep sleep, someone from Chunfeng Lu called out to wake him. Young Master Gu, wake up quickly. Your family is here. Gu Jusi calmly replied, don't be noisy. I'll take responsibility for whatever it is. Get out. The next second, a knock came from outside the door, accompanied by the words, husband, Gu Jusi, Gu Jusi. But he ignored it, pulling the blanket over his head to continue sleeping, leaving the madam extremely bewildered. The next second, Lu Yuru kicked the door open. Then with a darkened face and a sharp, cold gaze, she shouted, Gu Jusi, get up for me. In this situation, the madam was so frightened she immediately ran away. Meanwhile, Gu Jusi frowned and grumbled, so noisy, I already said don't. However, before he could finish his sentence, a sword was at his neck. Lu Yuru said coldly, get up. In this situation, Gu Jusi hurriedly forced a smile and said, calm down, let's talk things over. Lu Yuru paid him no mind, only repeating, get up. Seeing this, Gu Jusi quickly obeyed, replying, getting up, I'm getting up. As soon as he sat up at the table, Lu Yuru spoke, not knowing when my husband would return, I came specially to welcome you home. Gu Juicy frowned and assessed her. Coming to welcome me with a sword. Only you could think of that. Plopping down on the chair next to Lu Yuru, she added firmly, "Husband, you've been out for several days. It's time to go home, read, and strive for official honors." Upon hearing this, Gu Juicy's face went blank. Full of confusion and astonishment, he asked back, "What did you say? You're telling me to go home and study?" Lu Yuru said with a serious face, "Husband, you're only 2 years away from your coming of age. You must think about your future. Your father is already a wealthy merchant in Yangzhou. His only hope is for you to achieve official honors." Upon hearing these words, Gu Juicy immediately cut in. Stop, stop, stop. I've heard these words 1,000 times. Then he couldn't help but ask, "I'm telling you, Lu Yuru, regarding our marriage, I'm a victim too. Whatever you want, I can give you. From now on, we can each live our own separate lives. How about that?" At these words, Lu Yuru just stared at him. As he poured tea, Gu Juicy continued to speak. "You know very well what kind of person I am. What's the use of preaching these principles to me?" He said this while forcing a smile and offering the tea to Lu Yuru. "Let's be realistic. My family's fortune is enough for me to live in luxury for the rest of my life. Tell me, why should I suffer through studying? Let me calculate it for you. Our family's money-lending business has a net profit of 200,000 a year. Besides that, our family also has land and shops. When it comes to money, you will absolutely not be shortchanged. The two of us can just live freely and happily for a lifetime. How about that?" Lu Yuru drank her tea, listening intently to Gu Juicy, then asked coldly, "But what if we don't choose a lifetime?" Upon hearing this, Gu Juicy found it strange. "What do you mean?" Lu Yuru immediately explained. "Why do you think the Gu family can lend money without it being defaulted on? Why do you have so much land without others coveting it? It's because your maternal uncle holds a high position in the imperial court. If one day the times change and the Gu family loses its backing, possessing wealth but unable to protect it, what kind of end do you think you'll have? With that much silver, relying only on an unknown rich man with no backing. Can you protect it?" Gu Juicy calmly replied, "Then there's nothing to be done. If it really comes to that, we'll just have to live according to the times." Upon hearing this, Lu Yuru slammed the table, moved closer to Gu Juicy, and questioned him. "You've lived a life of glory and wealth. At that time, you can just close your eyes and pass away. But what about me and your parents? Have you ever thought about us?" Meanwhile, he still hadn't grasped the gravity of the situation, casually saying, "That's fate. You shouldn't think too much about it. At that time, my parents will figure something out on their own." The more she heard him speak, the more Lu Yuru's hand trembled. Seeing this, Gu Juicy couldn't help but feel scared, then immediately moved closer to calm her down. "Don't be angry. Calm down, calm down." Lu Yuru continued coldly. "Gu Juicy, did you know that I could have originally married Yi Shuren?" Outside, Yi Shuren was about to knock on the door when he suddenly heard this. He couldn't help but be stunned by Lu Yuru's words. "Do you know how hard I try to marry into the Yi family to marry him?" Tears welling up in her eyes, Lu Yuru said resentfully, "Since I was not yet 10, I have been learning how to become someone the Yi family would like. I have read every book that he has read, copied every letter he sent to Yi Yun, and memorized every rule of the Yi family. I even secretly learned the 4 arts, turning myself into a well-bred young lady. I worked so hard for so many years, thinking I was about to succeed. I would marry an ideal husband, and in this life, my entire life, I would have a good ending. I would respect my husband as a guest, living in harmony and love. But it was you, your Gu family, who ruined everything." Faced with her anguish, Gu Juicy didn't know what to do. Meanwhile, Lu Yuru's face turned red with anger as she shouted, "It was you who said you wanted to marry me. Gu Juicy, you are arrogant, thinking everyone in this world is like you, not needing to care about what others say. But just one joke from you has ruined my entire life." Gu Juicy could only stammer in response, "I'm sorry," but Lu Yuru paid it no mind. She directly slapped Gu Juicy across the face and said, "What good is sorry? So many years of my efforts, so many years of my planning. Is a single sorry from you enough? Gu Juicy, you listen clearly. I don't care if you want it or not. You have made me your wife. You must take responsibility for this. Everything I was supposed to have, you must give me." With a serious gaze, Lu Yuru declared firmly, "I need a husband who is a pillar of strength, who can shoulder the great responsibility of the family. Not someone like you, who only knows how to indulge in pleasure and relies on his parents when trouble arises. However well Yi Shuren can do, you must also be able to do." After listening to her for a while, Gu Juicy was still dazed, not knowing what to say. Lu Yuru suddenly pressed the blade to his neck and said, "From today onwards, if you dare to set foot in these frivolous pleasure dens again, I won't kill you. I will take this knife and slit my own throat right at the Gu family's gate. Do you hear me clearly?" In this situation, Gu Juicy couldn't help but try to calm her down. "Calm down, you calm down." After hearing the whole story from outside, Yishuren breathed a sigh of relief, thinking to himself, "It seems I don't need to worry about Sister Yuru being bullied by Gu Juicy anymore. Now it seems the greater possibility is that Gu Juicy will be splattered with blood in Chunfeng Lu today." As he left, he thought to himself, "But if he dies at the hands of his own wife, he will have died a worthy death." Gu Juicy's face turned pale, staring intently at Lu Yuru. He thought to himself, "Based on Lu Yuru's skills, I could probably snatch this knife before she makes a move. But in her current state, even without a knife, she would use her life to settle this matter with me. Could it be that she likes Yishuren?" Thinking of this, he frowned with a hint of grievance, then said softly, You put the knife away. Let's go home and talk." Upon hearing this, Lu Yuru lowered the blade, then did a 180-degree turn in expression and replied with a smile, "All right." Seeing her like this, Gu Juicy was truly at a loss for words. Gu Juicy suddenly turned around. Seeing this, Lu Yuru quickly blocked his path and asked, "What are you trying to do?" Then she immediately started dragging Gu Juicy away. "No need, it's already prepared at home. Let's go back." This made Gu Juicy feel utterly helpless. Is this necessary? Just to change clothes? Is it really necessary? Just like that, she dragged Gu Juicy away in front of everyone. Gu Juicy reminded her as he was being dragged, "You slow down a bit." Seeing this, the people around couldn't help but burst into amused laughter. "Oh, isn't that the young master of the Gu family? He's been caught by his wife." Gu Juicy frowned in annoyance, turned back and snapped, "What are you looking at? Aren't you afraid of staring yourselves blind?" Inside the sedan chair, Gu Juicy spoke sullenly. "If you wanted to find me, you could have just found me. It's not like I wouldn't listen. Making such a big scene, where am I supposed to put my face?" Upon hearing these words, Lu Yuru calmly replied, "Your face, you won't be needing it anymore." Gu Juicy, filled with anger, said, "Why wouldn't I?" Immediately, Lu Yuru quickly threw a stack of books at him and instructed, "From today on, don't go out as you please. Study diligently. Wait for Yishuren to announce his exam results. Whatever his score is, however many exams he takes in the future, you cannot be worse than him." The more he listened, the more annoyed Gu Juicy became. "Lu Yuru, are you that vain? What does this exam success have to do with me?" Lu Yuru's face suddenly darkened, and she said in a stern voice, "If I hadn't married you, I would be Madam Yi." Seeing this, Gu Juicy didn't argue further. "I won't compare myself to him." Handing the books to him, Lu Yuru continued, "You can't win, can you? It's fine. I don't expect you to win, nor do I care about your shame. Regardless, you must read these books. Whether you want or not, you must read them." In this situation, Gu Juicy firmly refused. "I won't read. Let's see what you can do to me. I want to get out of the carriage, Before he could finish, Lu Yuru took out her sword again, reminding him with a grim face, "You get out. If you get out of this carriage today, either you die or I die. My life has been ruined anyway." Seeing her like this, Gu Juicy didn't cause any more trouble. He sat obediently in one spot and said, "All day it's die, die. Why don't you say something auspicious?" As soon as he got home, he stormed inside and cried out, "Father, Mother, I'm being forced to death." Seeing his behavior, Lu Yuru calmly ate some fruit and asked, "Is he normally this dramatic?" The female subordinate beside her gave a forced smile and replied, "The young master is always out of tune." Gu Juicy knelt before Jiang Ro and whined, "Father, Mother, you must stand up for me. That Lu Yuru, she held a knife to my neck, threatened me, and forced me to read." Seeing him like this, Jiang Ro couldn't help but console him. All right, don't cry anymore. Be careful with your throat." Meanwhile, Lu Yuru also came in and greeted them, "Father, Mother." As soon as she finished speaking, she thought to herself, "I always thought my mother-in-law was a heroine among women, and my father-in-law a man of refined taste. I didn't expect that in front of Gu Juicy. I understand where Gu Juicy gets this personality from." Gu Juicy suddenly turned to look at her and said, "You." However, seeing her terrifying face, Gu Juicy turned back to his mother. "Mother, you have to stand up for me. I won't read. I don't want to read. Reading gives me a headache. My whole body aches. I feel unwell." Jiang Ro's heart softened immensely, and she immediately agreed. "No more reading. No more reading. Forget it. I'll think of something." Hearing this, Lu Yuru immediately reminded her, "Mother, the young master is almost 18 now, yet he's still like a child. As parents, you must think about your child's future. Am I right?" Then she quickly placed her hand on Gu Jusi's shoulder and continued, "Father and mother, please go rest. I will take my husband back. The two of you don't need to worry." Seeing this, Gu Jusi, with teary and adorable eyes, called out, "Mother." Gu Langhua, sitting next to Jiang Ro, immediately spoke up. "Rower, since we've already agreed, let's let Yuru handle it." Upon hearing this, Jiang Ro immediately pushed Gu Jusi away and said, "Jusi, mother is also doing this for your own good." Instantly, they left amidst Gu Jusi's hoarse screams, "Father, mother." Gu Jusi froze on the spot, dumbfounded. Meanwhile, Lu Yuru approached him, smiled gently, and reminded him, "Husband, get up and read." Gu Jusi backed away in fear, then asked, What did you do to my parents?" Lu Yuru sat down and replied calmly, "Husband, I'm doing all of this for your own good." Gu Jusi hurriedly grabbed her hand and said, No, Miss Lu's sister Yuru. Fairy Lu, I was wrong. Besides reading, I'll do anything you want. I've had poor health since I was young. Whenever I read, I get a headache." Before he could finish his sentence, Lu Yuru interrupted, "And a stomachache and body aches, right?" Gu Jusi quickly said, Yes. As soon as he finished speaking, Lu Yuru said coldly, "So what does that have to do with me? I only care about whether I can become an imperial mandated lady." At her words, Gu Jusi shot to his feet and said loudly in frustration, "Lu Yuru, don't push me too far. If this continues, I will. Lu Yuru, on the contrary, replied calmly, "What will you do?" Gu Jusi stated with a serious face, "I will divorce you." Not far away, Gu Langhua and Jiang Ro were standing in a corner, eavesdropping. Hearing these words, Gu Langhua was filled with rage, grabbing his main weapon and preparing to go out and teach this brat a lesson. But Jiang Ro quickly stopped him. "Let Yuru handle it. Don't interfere." Faced with the situation, Lu Yuru just asked coldly, "I'll ask you one last time. Are you going to read or not?" Gu Jusi answered defiantly, "I will not read." As soon as he finished speaking, Lu Yuru ordered in a stern voice, "Wang Shou, lock him in the study for me." Hearing this, Gu Jusi laughed smugly and said, "This is my house. Why would Wang Shou listen to you?" Meanwhile, a group of servants in the distance was rushing in aggressively. The next second, they had Gu Jusi in a hold and said, "Young master, forgive our offense." In this situation, he could only cry out helplessly, "Wang Shou, even you have betrayed me." Wang Shou replied calmly, "This is not called betrayal. My master now is the young madam." As they pushed Gu Jusi into the study, the servant said, "Young master, please." This left him utterly stunned. "Hey!" The next second, Gu Jusi was inside, shouting, "Locking me up is one thing, but you have to give me some food." Someone outside immediately replied, "Young master, the young madam has said that you will only get to eat after you have memorized the first chapter of the Analects." Hearing this, Gu Jusi became furious and said resolutely, "Damn it, just let me starve to death." However, before he could do anything, Gu Jusi's stomach started to rumble. Just then, a fragrance suddenly wafted in. The delicious smell of a leg of lamb filled the air. Outside, everyone was eating and chatting happily, their cheerful laughter echoing all around. This leg of lamb is crispy on the outside and tender on the inside. "Young miss, you should try it." "Thank you, young madam, for the wine. The aroma is rich and it has a sweet aftertaste. It's truly a fine wine." Gu Jusi, inside the room, tried to tell himself it's just a roasted leg of lamb. Who hasn't had it before? However, not even a few seconds later, his mouth watered as he thought, but the smell is really so fragrant. Will one day without food really kill a person? In the next second, Gu Jusi thought resolutely, "Study then, who's afraid of whom? It's just a passage from the Analects." In the evening, outside, Lu Yuru's group was still chatting cheerfully. Gu Jusi's voice calling from a distance surprised Lu Yuru a little. Lu Yuru, open the door for me. Just leave me a thigh bone. That's fine too. I've memorized it." Lu Yuru approached the door and asked, "Is my husband hungry?" Gu Jusi, his face pale, replied, "I haven't eaten all day. Do you think I'm hungry or not?" Upon hearing this, Lu Yuru immediately responded, "Then I will open the door for you right away. But once you're out, you must obediently recite Shue Er to get your meal. Do you have any objections, my husband?" Gu Jusi quickly said, "Fine, hurry up." The door was slowly pulled open, and in the next second, Gu Jusi dashed outside. While eating mutton, he recited the passage smoothly. To learn and to practice what is learned time and again, is it not a pleasure? To have friends come from afar, is it not a joy? To be unperturbed when others do not know you, is it not the mark of a gentleman? Master, you said, a man who is filial and fraternal, yet likes to offend his superiors, is rare indeed. After a while, Goot Juicy slammed his wine cup on the table, then spoke with full confidence. How about that? Aren't I amazing? Don't you worship me? Seeing him like this, Lu Yuru could only force a smile and think to herself, like an overgrown child, so eager to show off after a small achievement. After eating and drinking his fill, Gu Juicy turned to leave. All right, I'm off to bed. However, Lu Yuru called him back, my husband. Hearing this call, Gu Juicy froze in fear. Lu Yuru stood before him, smiled, and said, how about I give you a little introduction to your life from now on? Gu Juicy turned to leave while saying, no need, no, thank you. Seeing this, Lu Yuru immediately reminded him, come back. Instantly, Gu Juicy helplessly approached her and said dejectedly, I'm here. Lu Yuru spoke gently, go, prepare hot water to help the young master bathe. A subordinate quickly obeyed, replying, yes. Outside, the sky had darkened. After bathing, Gu Juicy knelt on the ground, neatly dressed. Looking at him, Lu Yuru smiled to herself and thought, I have to say, Gu Juicy isn't bad looking. People all say Yi Shuren is like a plum blossom immortal official. But in terms of looks, Gu Juicy is the true immortal. If I think on the bright side, although Gu Juicy is a bit dissolute, he has a good personality, is handsome, and has money. I didn't get the short end of the stick in this marriage. While she was lost in thought, Gu Juicy suddenly spoke up. If you have something to say it quickly. I'm tired. I want to sleep. Lu Yuru replied cheerfully. It's like this. I've spoken with your former tutor about your academic progress and have made a plan for you. Upon hearing this, Gu Juicy broke out in a cold sweat and asked, are you trying to work me to death? Meanwhile, Lu Yuru calmly replied, every 5 days, I will accompany you to the shop to see how my parents-in-law handle business. Each month, you will have 3 days off, which you can arrange freely, but you're not allowed to go to places like brothels. This statement left Gu Juicy utterly stunned. Only 3 days? Lu Yuru gave a sinister, cold smile and asked back, does the young master find that too long? Not beneficial for your advancement? Or should we change it to 1 day? Faced with her terrifying demeanor, Gu Juicy hurriedly replied, no, 3 days it is. 3 days is quite good. Lu Yuru continued to remind him, during this time, my husband must abstain from alcohol and amusement. I have already requested people's invitations for you. If they're suitable, I won't stop you. If unsuitable, I will decline them. To not affect my husband's mood, from now on, you will wear the outfit you have on today. Gu Juicy was a bit stunned and said, that's not right. It's not good for me to wear this same outfit every day. Lu Yuru immediately smiled and explained, it's all right. I have prepared 3 sets for you. You can change it to a new one each day. I guarantee they are all identical. In this situation, Gu Juicy could only weep silently in his heart. Very good. Lu Yuru, you are truly ruthless. Meanwhile, Lu Yuru calmly and gently asked, does my husband have anything to say? Gu Juicy suddenly shot to his feet, shouting aggressively and angrily, Lu Yuru, what on earth are you trying to do? Are you trying to torment me to vent your anger, which is why you came up with this method of forcing me to study? With her gaze lowered, Lu Yuru immediately replied gently, my husband knows that Yuru's lifelong honor and disgrace are tied to her husband. My friends all know about my connection to the Yi family. Now that I've married you, I don't know how many people are waiting to laugh at me. I am just a common person. I want to live a slightly more splendid life, to have a day where I am not ridiculed. At her words, Gu Juicy's voice suddenly softened to console her. I could buy you beautiful clothes, hairpins. However, Lu Yuru immediately refused. Those things are useless. My husband has money, but over these years, have you not endured enough ridicule? This statement couldn't help but leave Gu Juicy suddenly stunned, thinking to himself, when I was young, I also wanted to be better than others, but after being compared and ridiculed for so long, I got used to it. Being a playboy is better than being ridiculed after trying hard. Meanwhile, Lu Yuru continued to speak with a smile. Actually, you are very intelligent. You understand what I'm saying. You could have become an outstanding talent, shouldering responsibility. It's just that you don't want to. Now the situation has changed. Have my husband never thought of changing? My parents-in-law will also grow old. They can't protect you for a lifetime. Even if you don't think for yourself, you must think for them. If we are humiliated in the future, and you can only watch helplessly with wide eyes, how would you feel? The more he listened, the more embarrassed Gu Juicy became, his face turning red. Then he firmly asserted, I understand everything you've said, but that day will never come. Lu Yuru immediately asked, because your parents have already paved the way for you, right? She slowly stood up, then coldly reminded him as she walked past him. Are those words ultimately for comforting yourself, or are they what others use to comfort you? Is it that you don't dare to face reality, or are you truly ignorant? My telling you to study is not actually meaningless. It's because I know you can do it. I know Yishuren put in a lot of effort, and I also know how intelligent you are. What Yishuren can do, you can do too. It's just that you've never done it. In this situation, Gu Jusi could only reply helplessly, I can't, I really can't. Lu Yuru quickly frowned and asserted, no, you can. Her resolute attitude took Gu Jusi completely by surprise. Her expression suddenly softened, and she spoke gently. Gu Jusi, even if it's for my sake, will you try just once, please? A look of stunned surprise was clear on Gu Jusi's face, while Lu Yuru's face was stern and extremely determined. In this situation, Gu Jusi couldn't help but feel ashamed and thought to himself, Lu Yuru is right. I must return to her what I caused her to lose. It's just that, surpassing Yishuren, that's a bit difficult for me. Since I was young, my health has been poor. Although I learned quickly, reading for a long time gives me a headache. Back then, the tutor would collect the books on time every day. I might look at it and not know a single character. I couldn't read a single character I hadn't seen before, so I couldn't escape the tutor's scolding. Yishuren sat behind me, and every time I was embarrassed, he would stand up and fluently continue reading. So every time the tutor came, he would tell my father, and even my father and mother would praise Yishuren's intelligence. At first, I was unconvinced and would run away to cry. At that time, Jiang Ro would come to him and gently comfort him. My precious, don't cry anymore. If you're not as good, then you're not as good. Our family doesn't rely on scholarship to make a living. As long as you're happy, that's all that matters. Lost in his thoughts, Gu Jusi recalled, after that, I took my parents' comforting words to heart. I was willful because they said my happiness was all that mattered. Now that Lu Yuru has said this, I feel a bit scared, but it's the first time someone has acknowledged me, saying I'm better than Yishuren. I don't want to disappoint her. Thinking this, Gu Jusi spoke up hesitantly. I'll give it a try. Hearing these words from him, Lu Yuru was incredibly surprised. Gu Jusi turned his face away, blushing, and said, you go to sleep first. I'm going to read for a bit. Lu Yuru couldn't help but smile at this adorable attitude, thinking to herself, such a child's temperament. Then she quickly turned back into the room and instructed In Hong, tell the kitchen to prepare some soup for the young master. I heard his voice is a bit hoarse. Let him soothe his throat. This left In Hong utterly confused. Young miss, why are you being so good to him? You're just too kind. If it weren't for him, you would be young Madam Yi now. Why go through all this trouble? This isn't getting married. This is clearly adopting a son. Hearing that, Lu Yuru immediately tapped In Hong lightly on the head and replied, nonsense, In Hong. From now on, don't call me young miss anymore. Call me young madam. I know you feel indignant on my behalf, but one must look forward. Actually, the Gu family has 10,000 ways to deal with me, but they have always been good to me. This marriage, in any case, was due to Zhang Yuer's schemes. My father is greedy for money. Making a scene at the Gu residence would do me no good. Even if they are good, they can't tolerate me for a lifetime. Since I am already the young madam of the Gu family, eating their food and wearing their clothes, I shouldn't have other thoughts. It's better to let go and live well. Hearing this, In Hong said while pouring tea for Lu Yuru, that's true, but I still feel sad for you. After all, young Master Yi, compared to the one from the Gu family, is much better. Lu Yuru smiled and assessed. If I had taken a knife to block Yishuren today, would he have sat down to talk with me? The one from the Gu family looks fierce, but in reality, his personality is countless times better than Yishuren's. Look, his skills are good, but he didn't want to harm his family, so he obediently let himself be locked in the study. Moreover, he's much more intelligent than I imagined. He just lacks ambition. At Gu Jusi's location, he was a bit stunned by the scene before his eyes. Seeing this, Munin beside him immediately called out, young master. Gu Jusi quickly signaled him to stop talking, then gently glanced inside. It was Lu Yuru. He was watching her talk intently, and then he couldn't help but tell himself, she is a good maiden. I must make her live well. I cannot fail her expectations. The next morning, Lu Yuru asked as soon as she woke up, why hasn't the young master returned to the room? In Hong immediately replied, the young master slept in the study last night. Upon hearing that, Lu Yuru asked again, Is he awake yet? In Hong, standing beside her, smiled and replied, not yet. Myunin has been waiting outside the door since early this morning. He said he called several times, but there was no response. Over at the study, Gu Juicy was curled up, sleeping soundly amidst a pile of books. Seeing Lu Yuru outside, Myunin quickly spoke up, young madam, I've called several times, but the young master doesn't hear me. Lu Yuru smiled gently and said, it's all right, bring some water. Outside, flowers bloomed, painting a corner of the sky crimson. Gu Juicy was sleeping very soundly, when in the next second, a ladle of cold water suddenly appeared out of nowhere and was splashed straight into Gu Juicy's face. Seeing this, he immediately shot up and shouted angrily, who would douse me with cold water so early in the morning? Myunin, holding the ladle not far away, couldn't help but think in fear. It's over. The young master is about to get angry. Lu Yuru, with a face full of coldness, immediately spoke up. Husband, did you sleep well? In contrast to her attitude, Gu Juicy smiled gently and replied, Miss Lu is so thoughtful, even coming all the way here to wake me up. Then, full of diligence and hard work, he affirmed, don't worry, I will definitely pass the exam and defeat Yishuren. Hearing that, Lu Yuru was extremely surprised, thinking to herself, it's only been one night. How has he become like a different person? Gu Juicy smiled and continued, wait for me to pass the exam, to help you secure your status. At that time, we will owe each other nothing, and you can seek your own happiness. I can also find my happiness, right? Lu Yuru replied cheerfully, of course. Hearing this, Gu Juicy firmly declared, rest assured, what you have lost, I will help you get it all back. Afterwards, even while eating, Gu Juicy tried to read. Lu Yuru sat beside him, putting food on his plate while smilingly announcing, husband, the tutor is about to arrive. And so, Gu Juicy diligently studied with the tutor, while Myunin stood by, always cheering enthusiastically. Young master, keep going. After finishing this lesson, there's only one more subject left for tonight. Outside, the moonlight and stars twinkled across the sky, a dim light glowing within the residence. Lu Yuru supported a trembling Gu Juicy as she spoke. Husband, try a little harder. You still have to memorize a passage from the Analects. Hearing these words, Gu Juicy shivered uncontrollably, then immediately hugged Lu Yuru tightly and whined. I can't do it anymore. Lu Yuru, let me go to sleep. I really can't take it anymore. I can't study anymore. Hearing that, Lu Yuru's face turned stern as she immediately reminded him. Gu Juicy, pull yourself together. Can you memorize it or not? Gu Juicy quickly shot to his feet and replied with full seriousness, yes. The next second, he forced himself to sit at the desk to study. Watching him intently, Lu Yuru smiled and thought to herself, it seems I've left him with quite a bit of psychological trauma. Then she quickly closed the door to let Gu Juicy focus on his studies. Lu Yuru gently turned her head back. Gu Juicy had already fallen asleep at some point. Even so, his mouth kept murmuring, pass the exam and defeat Yishuren. Pass the exam and defeat Yishuren. Pass the exam and defeat Yishuren. Lu Yuru took a blanket, then gently covered the soundly sleeping Gu Juicy. Then she smiled and said, husband, you've worked hard. Outside, fireflies illuminated the space. 10 days later, holding a book, Gu Juicy read aloud firmly. To be an official, one must have virtue. Just then, Myunin rushed in to announce, young master, it's bad, it's bad. Gu Juicy quickly asked, what's wrong? How did Yishuren do on the exam? Myunin, panting, tried to answer, young master Yi, the top scholar. Young master Yi ranked first, becoming the Juan. Upon hearing this news, Gu Juicy's face was filled with shock and astonishment. Stunned, he couldn't help but drop the book to the ground as he thought to himself, first place in the palace examination. In the future, he might even rank first in the metropolitan exam, first in the provincial exam, forever number one. I risked my life like this, but I'm afraid I still can't keep up with him. As soon as the thought finished, Gu Juicy suddenly went limp and collapsed. Seeing this, Myunin immediately shouted loudly, young master, what's wrong with you, young master? Quickly call a physician. The young master has fainted. Young master, you have to stay strong. Outside the room, the sun was still shining brightly. Gu Juicy lay uncomfortably on the sickbed. As soon as Jiang Ro saw this, she immediately spoke up. Yuru, things can't be rushed. Our child has never suffered since he was young. If you make him work so hard now, something will happen. Lu Yuru quickly bowed her head and replied at once. Mother is right. I know I was wrong. Jiang Ro continued, but you don't necessarily have to force him to study. If Juicy isn't suited for it, don't push him too hard. Hearing this, Lu Yuru was filled with doubt. Then what is he suited for? Or perhaps since father is highly skilled in martial arts, why not let him? Hearing this, Jiang was startled, then quickly refuted. No, absolutely not. Our family only has one son, Jussi. The battlefield is too dangerous. What if something happens? The more she listened, the more dejected Lu Yuru became, sighing before speaking softly. Mother, in my heart, you have always been the most intelligent woman. Why is it that when it comes to my husband's matters, you can't seem to think clearly? He can't follow the path of martial arts, so he can only follow the path of scholarship. But whether it's business or being an official, who doesn't need to study? These words of hers suddenly silenced Jiang. Meanwhile, Lu Yuru continued to speak. My husband has no biological brothers, and his relatives are all the way in Dongdu. Later, when father and mother are old, who will help my husband manage the family business? Mother, you must also think about my husband's future. The reason he has to suffer now is because he was too carefree when he was young. A person's life must go through equal measures of hardship and ease. If he doesn't suffer now, he will suffer tenfold later. Mother, don't you think so? As she accepted the cup of tea Lu Yuru had just poured, Jiang replied. You are right. Lu Yuru continued with a smile. Moreover, over the past few days, I have observed my husband's talents. He is in no way inferior to others. So I hope that from now on, father and mother will no longer say that he can't do anything. In my eyes, even if my husband were to pass the exam as the top scholar, I wouldn't be surprised. After listening to her persuasion for a while, Jiang immediately agreed. You are right. It is I and his father who have been too narrow-minded. You are a good child. With Jussi married to you, I am very relieved. This praise made Lu Yuru blush with embarrassment. After they finished their discussion, Jiang prepared to leave and reminded her, It's getting late. I have to go back to the shop to handle some things. When Jussi is better, I will take you home for a visit. You should also make some time. I will take you to a few shops to have a look. This made Lu Yuru extremely surprised and astonished. She couldn't help but think to herself, in other families, it's rare for a wife to manage the family business and discuss business matters. But in the Gu family, it's normal. Mother telling me to go look at some shops must mean she wants me to gradually take over the family business. As soon as the thought finished, she smiled and replied, Yes. Lu Yuru gently pushed the door open. Seeing that Gu Jussi was awake, she quickly asked, Husband, are you feeling any better? Gu Jussi replied, I'm fine now. Is it time to study again? Approaching him, Lu Yuru said cheerfully, Just rest for today. Let's talk for a bit. Gu Jussi replied stiffly and coldly, I don't want to talk. Lu Yuru couldn't help but helplessly persuade him. Then to chat with me. The next second, she said gently, Your mother told me to go with her to look at some shops. I guess she wants me to manage the business with her. Seeing her extremely excited and delighted expression, Gu Jussi found it strange. Isn't it just business? Why are you so happy? However, as soon as he finished speaking, he immediately thought to himself, That's right, back when she was still at the Lu family's house. Then he quickly spoke up, My mother is letting you go with her, probably to see if you're suited for this. Later, if I become an official, the Gu family's business cannot be neglected. It would be better to give you full authority to manage it. His words made Lu Yuru extremely surprised. Every word he said seemed to repeat in her mind. For you. Gu Jussi suddenly moved closer to Lu Yuru and said, The future of the Gu family depends on you. What's wrong? Are you so happy you're stunned? Hearing this, Lu Yuru asked, full of anxiety. Then tell me, can I do it? Her expression made Gu Jussi extremely surprised. He couldn't help but tell himself. It turns out, when facing the unknown, it's not just me who gets anxious and insecure. Then he couldn't help but chuckle and assess cheerfully. Lu Yuru, you finally have a day like this. Seeing that, Lu Yuru angrily enunciated each word. Gu Jussi. Seeing her aggressively approach him, Gu Jussi was terrified and immediately shouted, Don't you come over here. Spare me, my lady. You're the best. You're the fiercest, all right? Lu Yuru quickly retorted, Who are you calling fierce? Gu Jussi. Gu Jussi grabbed her hand tightly and had to admit defeat. All right. Stop squeezing, I surrender. Lu Yuru, blushing, also softly ordered, Let go of my hand. But Gu Jussi, not to be outdone, said, Then you can't squeeze me either. Lu Yuru quickly turned and sat down. She narrowed her eyes slightly and whispered, You should rest for a bit. In 2 days, make time to go home with me for a visit. Gu Jussi leaned up, smiled, and replied gently, All right, then you shouldn't worry either. You can even manage me, so aren't a few small shops too simple? Lu Yuru was momentarily surprised by Gu Jussi's words. She looked at him, then shyly looked down. Suddenly, as if remembering something, she turned sharply to him. That's right, when we go to my house, you should talk less. Just be good to me, that's enough. Gu Jussi beamed and replied, Don't worry, I guarantee I'll make you proud. Lu Yuru had one more thing to say. Also, I want to bring the youngest child of the concubine Zhang Yuer under my mother's name. You. Gu Juxi's eyes, clear and sparkling, looked at her, making her unable to say more, so she sighed and mumbled. Never mind. Early the next morning, everyone set out to welcome Lu Yuru back. Gu Juxi, in the carriage that pulled up first, attentively took her hand and gently helped her down. My lady, be careful. Madame and Lu Xian looked at her with teary eyes, filled with days of longing. Madame called out softly, Yuru. She walked over, took the madam's hand, and comforted her. Mother. In her heart, she was happy. After so many years, Mother's suffering had finally ended, and she had returned to her position as the main wife. Gu Juxi also appeared right behind her, putting on a sad face. Madam, why are you crying? Is something wrong? Lu Yuru felt a sense of helplessness and said to herself, I told him to be good to me, but he didn't need to act so fake. Then she quickly put on a joyful expression and smiled in response. Seeing father and mother again, I'm just crying from joy. Lu Yuru bowed in greeting. Your daughter pays her respects to father and mother. Gu Juxi also immediately bowed. Your son-in-law pays his respects to father-in-law and mother-in-law. Lu Xian replied with joy in his heart. Good, good, good. It's been a long and tiring journey. You must be exhausted. The meal is ready. Hurry inside and rest. Later, Lu Yuru sat chatting with her mother. Has anything happened these past few days while I've been away? Her mother's voice lowered as she recounted. Now, Zhang Yuer only cares about money, and she has argued with your father quite a few times. Your father gets a headache whenever he sees them, so he has been coming to my place more often. I don't think much of it. I no longer care whether he comes or not. It's just that when people see him favoring me, they treat me much better. What about you? That young master of the Gu family? Lu Yuru smiled and replied, Mother, Juxi is much better than the rumors outside say. He is very good to me. You saw just now, during the meal, how well he treats me. She recounted the times Gu Juxi had attentively cared for her. I've removed all the fish bones, my lady. Please have a taste. My lady, the tea is still hot. Let me blow on it for you. My lady's hands are so cold. I'll have someone bring a hand warmer for you. My lady, my lady, my lady, my lady. Her mother was somewhat puzzled. Is he like that at home too? Lu Yuru smiled gently. Mother, please rest assured, he truly treats me very well. Her mother, reassured, stood up and walked out. That's good then. If a woman can be loved by her husband like this, she has nothing to worry about for the rest of her life. Lu Yuru watched her mother's retreating back and mused to herself. I used to think Mother was right, but now I can't agree. But Mother has thought this way her entire life. So changing is truly very difficult. She suddenly remembered something important and spoke with a serious tone in her voice. Mother, now that your relationship with Father has improved, you should take this opportunity to plan for the future. Since you currently have no son, how about adopting one as your heir? Concubine Yu's youngest son is just over 2 years old now. How about this afternoon I speak to Father about this matter? What do you think? Her mother was startled by her words and turned around abruptly, expressing her thoughts. I'm afraid that won't do. Lu Yuru replied. Don't worry, Juxi will help me. That evening at the banquet, the atmosphere was gloomy. Lu Yuru broke the silence by asking, Little brother Vin Ni is almost 2 years old now, isn't he? Has he learned to speak yet? Zhang Yuer answered concisely. That's right, he's almost 2. Although he can't speak clearly yet, he knows how to say mother. She bent down, smiled, and taught the little boy to speak. Vin Ni, come here and say mother for everyone to hear. Vinny only made a sound, causing Gu Juxi, who was sitting nearby, to force a laugh. My apologies, this child is too funny. I can't help it. But he suddenly caught Lu Yuru's gaze, which felt like an electric shock, startling him into wiping the smile off his face and sitting up straight. Lu Yuru spoke gently. Concubine, please don't blame him. Our Juxi's temperament is just like that. Zhang Yuer forced a smile. Young Master Gu is naturally straightforward. There's no need to be particular. Lu Yuru replied in a firm tone. Concubine Yu now has 2 sons. Yuru looks on with admiration. Yuru is just thinking that now that I am married, Mother should also have someone by her side to take care of her. Father, don't you agree? Lu Xian nodded in agreement. You are right. Your mother should have a child by her side as well. Zhang Yuer, alarmed by the unexpected words, cried out. What? Lu Xian smiled, turned to pat Vin Ni's head, and looked directly at Zhang Yuer. How about this, Yuer? Let the main wife raise Vin Ni. But Zhang Yuer recoiled and tried to evade. Master, Vinny is still young. He can't be away from me. Gu Jusi took a sip of tea and replied, Concubine you, that sounds very nice. What boy can't be separated from his mother? It's not like he's some fragile thing. Concubine, you might as well entrust the child to the first madam to raise, to prevent him from going down the wrong path. Zhang Yuer's displeasure was evident at Gu Jusi's words. She gritted her teeth and thought to herself, I should have killed Su Wan long ago and married Lu Yuru off to some old man as a concubine. It's all because I was too soft-hearted that I let them have the chance to rise up like this today. Suddenly, Zhang Yuer hugged Vin Ni, put on an innocent expression, and knelt down with a pleading tone. Master, for all these years, even if I have no great merits, I have worked hard for the Lu family. Everything I've done has been for my 2 children. You can't listen to the fabrications of Su Wan and her daughter and take my child away from me. Lu Xian refused to listen and ordered loudly, Guards, drag her away. Don't let her cause a scene here. The servants entered and began to drag her away, but she struggled and screamed, My son, give me back my son. Lu Yuru looked at her mother and thought to herself, Mother can finally be at ease. Later, after leaving and going outside, Lu Yuru looked at Gu Jusi, puzzled about something. Why was father so easy to talk to today? He propped his chin on his hand, smiled, and looked at her affectionately, replying, For that, you have to praise me. Lu Yuru paused, which made him sit up straight and say urgently, Why are you staring blankly? Hurry up and praise me. She shyly covered her eyes with her fan and looked down. Praise you for what? Gu Jusi struck a dashing pose, crossed his arms, and replied, This afternoon, I already spoke to your father about the matter of the heir. Lu Yuru glanced at him and asked, What did you say? He recounted the moment. Which husband from a noble family doesn't have a son? If they don't have one, they must adopt an heir. My mother-in-law is all alone. Of course I'm worried. I had initially prepared many gifts for my little brother-in-law, but it's a pity my wife doesn't have any younger brothers. Then I see that concubine with her son has bullied my wife more than a few times, and now you want me to give gifts to her son. I'm really not happy about that. Father-in-law, don't you agree? He gestured with his hand as if he had completed a great task. And that's how it was. Lu Yuru asked directly, Wasn't that a bit too blunt? He lightly tapped her head with the fan in his hand and explained, You overthink everything you do. Why do you think your father hasn't divorced your mother after all these years? Lu Yuru naively scratched her head. Because divorcing his wife would be a loss of face? Gu Jusi frowned at her. Is your father someone who cares about face? He hasn't divorced your mother because he still needs the Su family for support. He dotes on Zhang Yuer also because he doesn't want to offend the Su family. If your mother had made a fuss earlier, how could that woman have had it so easy? Lu Yuru's gaze fell. Men are truly calculating. Gu Jusi chuckled softly. Men are people too, and as people, who isn't greedy for money and power? In your father's eyes, women are nothing more than tools to be exchanged for wealth and status. Now that he wants to curry favor with my family, he naturally has to treat your mother well and grant all my requests. Your father is a very clear-headed calculator. Lu Yuru looked at him with sparkling eyes. Gu Jusi, you're really amazing. He was surprised, then pulled her into his arms and whispered, Call me husband. Gu Jusi pulled her closer and whispered, Call me husband. Lu Yuru obediently complied. Husband, you're truly formidable. But immediately after, her curiosity seemed to annoy him a little as she continuously asked, Tell me more about Zhang Yuer. What do you think of her? Huh? Gu Jusi closed his eyes and only uttered, Yeah. Lu Yuru quickly offered him a cup with a slight curtsy. Please. He was impressed by this action and sighed in relief. Lu Yuru, I've discovered you really know when to advance and when to retreat. She replied, That's right. One who accomplishes great things must have such spirit. He pulled her into his arms, taking the teacup with his other hand. All right, whatever you want to ask today, I will tell you everything I know, without leaving out a single word. Lu Yuru looked up at him and asked, Then what do you think of Prince Liang? Hearing that name, Gu Jusi's expression suddenly changed. He became angry and slammed the teacup down, splashing water everywhere. A treacherous official and a traitorous son, he will surely rebel in the future. Seeing this reaction, Lu Yuru's eyes widened as she thought to herself, Gu Jusi, could it be that you know something? She asked softly, What's wrong? Gu Jusi said nothing, just yawned widely, leaned over, and lay his head in her lap. He replied in a somewhat lazy tone, I want to sleep, don't bother me. Lu Yuru shook him repeatedly. Gu Jusi, wake up. Answer my question first, then you can sleep. Early the next morning, Lu Yuru had a dazed expression, as if she hadn't slept all night. She called out his name loudly, enunciating each syllable. Gu Jusi, Gu Jusi. He lazily wrapped himself tightly in the blanket like a cocoon and slowly replied, "Didn't you say you let me rest? I'm so tired, so exhausted, I want to sleep." She leaned close, pulled back the blanket, and pressed him. "Answer one more question for me, and then I'll let you sleep. Why did you say Prince Liang will rebel?" Gu Jusi replied in a sleepy voice. "Did I say that? Don't be ridiculous. I don't remember anything." Lu Yuru, not wanting to give up, shouted. Gu Jusi, startled, he had to yield to her. I'll talk. He sat up and slowly explained to her. "It's just that I feel this Prince Liang is too suspicious. He has troops and power, yet he claims everything he does is to help the emperor, even sending his own family members as hostages. But if he were truly that loyal, why not hand over his military authority? Look, in recent years, every time he fights a battle, he demands reinforcements from the court. But for what I've seen in the battles, I feel there were several times he could have completely annihilated the enemy in a single fight. Yet he didn't do it. Why do you think that is? I can only think of one possibility. He can defeat the foreign enemies, but fears the fate of when the cunning rabbit dies, the hunting dog is boiled. He also knows the emperor suspects him, so he has already begun to consider rebellion. It's just that the time is not yet right. So for now, he pretends to be obedient. He deliberately lets the state of Chun send troops to harass the border, using these playful skirmishes to continuously request more troops, accumulating strength while waiting for the day to rebel. Lu Yuru asked further, "How do you know he could have annihilated the enemy in one battle?" He answered concisely, "I've met quite a few people from Prince Liang's fiefdom in gambling dens before. They told me about the situation over there. I was just making a wild guess. It can't be taken as fact." Hearing this, Lu Yuru fell into a thoughtful silence, prompting him to lean in and ask, "Is there anything else you want to ask? I want to sleep." Lu Yuru looked at him with great tenderness and replied, "Go to sleep." She tucked the blanket around him, her mind racing with thoughts. Most of what Gu Jusi said makes sense. Even if intelligence reports can be fake, there's no need to fake casual words spoken in a gambling den. Just then, In Hong pushed the door open and called softly, "Young madam, the madam is calling for you." Lu Yuru entered and bowed in greeting. Mother smiled and replied softly, "Come here. After breakfast, I'll take you to the shop to have a look." Sitting at the dining table, Mother thoughtfully served her food and didn't forget to ask confidentially, "Yesterday, when Juicy accompanied you back to your maiden home, was there anything he did that wasn't good enough?" She recalled Gu Juicy's words from yesterday, "Call me husband." Remembering this, her face flushed red as she stammered in reply, "Yes, it was very good. Juicy helped me a lot." Mother replied happily, "You've worked hard. Once Juicy gets used to studying, you won't have to stick by his side all the time anymore. You can spend more time taking care of the business." Lu Yuru obediently replied softly, "I will listen to Mother." Mother reminded her, "It's getting late. We should head to the shop." At the shop, Mother proudly introduced Lu Yuru to every nook and cranny, the position and area of each person. "This is Shopkeeper Lu. The shop's location, business methods, supply sources." A while later, back in the study with countless documents on the table, Mother spoke gently. "It's currently time for the annual account book inspection. I will guide you once, and later you can help me check all the account books." Lu Yuru replied concisely, "Yes." Evening gradually fell. Gu Jusi stepped outside, not forgetting to fan himself with a fan in his hand. He closed his eyes, enjoying the atmosphere. "After so many hard days of studying, I can finally have some fun." Suddenly, a voice from behind interrupted his mood. "Young master, you're out so late?" The young madam. He quickly moved closer to the edge of the door, slowly listening to what was inside. She must be asleep by now, right? He gently opened the door and went in. Lu Yuru. She was exhausted, asleep at her desk. He walked over and called gently, "Lu Yuru, wake up. Go sleep in bed. Why are you sleeping at the desk like this?" Helpless, he lifted her into his arms. Lu Yuru mumbled, "Husband, you're back?" Gu Jusi was surprised and thought to himself, "I came back so late, and she's not scolding me?" He quickly placed her on the bed and whispered caringly, "Don't talk anymore. Go to sleep." Then he turned and asked his follower, "What did the young madam do today to be so tired?" The follower replied, "I just want to ask around." Today, the great madam took the young madam to the shop to get acquainted. She also assigned the task of checking this year's account books to the young madam. Hearing this, he was surprised. Such a big task was given to her. The follower replied firmly, That's right. Everyone is saying the great madam is grooming the young madam. Before long, all household matters will probably be decided by the young madam. He glanced helplessly at Lu Yuru and thought to himself, isn't she already the one deciding things now? He looked at her gently and said softly, from now on, she has to supervise my studies and manage the account books. Isn't that too much work? Afterwards, he sat at the desk and helped Lu Yuru finish her work. But when he saw In Hong's sleep-deprived eyes, he couldn't help but blurt out, Miss In Hong, if you're sleepy, you should rest for a bit. In Hong's face was weary, but still full of determination. I can't. I promised the young miss that I must properly supervise the young master's studies. Gu Jusi could only sigh helplessly and think to himself, as expected. From then on, Lu Yuru woke up earlier than the chickens and slept later than the dogs every day. The task of supervising my studies was also handed over to In Hong. At first, she was very slow at checking the account books. Every day after reconciling them, she would go to the shop to take inventory, busy like that all day long. Sometimes when she couldn't finish reconciling the books, she had to stay up all night to finish. In the following days, Lu Yuru buried herself in the pile of account books, and when she got sleepy, she would hit herself to stay awake. Don't sleep. He clicked his tongue in admiration. I have never seen a girl so diligent, disciplined, and strict with herself. Her figure under the warm candlelight, little by little, was etched deeply into my life. It's just that at that time, I was completely unaware. Previously, all business matters were decided by my mother-in-law. This time she let go for the first time to let me negotiate on my own. I absolutely cannot let her down. Then one day, she went to meet young Master Zhou to discuss business. She introduced herself gently. Young Master Zhou, I am Lu Yuru, the daughter-in-law of the owner of the Jiang family's shop. Currently, the Jiangshi trading house is temporarily managed by me. Therefore, the matter of the fabrics this time will be discussed by me with you, young master. Young Master Zhou smiled and replied, Young madam is young and talented. You must have extraordinary abilities. She got straight to the point. My maiden family also deals in fabrics as our main product. I am very knowledgeable about this matter. I will certainly not disappoint young Master Zhou. Lu Yuru and young Master Zhou discussed the work. She presented a clear contract and asked young Master Zhou 2 copies of the contract, one for young Master Zhou to keep and one for us to keep. Does young Master Zhou see any other issues? Young Master Zhou's silence meant he agreed. He delicately asked a question. It's getting late. Why don't I escort the young madam home? Lu Yuru tactfully replied, There's no need. I have brought my family members with me. Please, young Master Zhou, go ahead. Young Master Zhou offered. Then let me see the young madam to the door. Stepping downstairs, they suddenly encountered a drunken Wang Rong. He immediately asked, Whose young lady is this? Coming out of a private room with another man in broad daylight, and being so intimate, Lu Yuru looked momentarily alarmed and thought to herself, It's Wang Rong, the one who, in my dream, held a grudge and killed him after Gu Jusi broke his leg. That's Wang Rong. Young Master Zhou stepped forward to shield her and replied to him, Young Master, please be careful with your words. This madam and I were just discussing business. There was no improper behavior. The elders in her family are all aware. Young Master, do not speak recklessly. He laughed mockingly. So the elders in her family also allow her to go out and do these things? Young Master Zhou gritted his teeth in anger. Lu Yuru had to speak up to defuse the situation. Young Master Zhou, he is the son of an official. Don't start a conflict. An upright person isn't afraid of slander. Young Master, don't bring trouble upon yourself. After all, this is Yang Zhou. The two of them intended to leave, but Wang Rong blocked them. Don't leave so soon, young lady. Since you've already served this young master, why not have some fun with me as well? The male servant accompanying her had to step forward and speak up. Young Master Wang, our madam, is the young madam of the Gu family. We hope young master will be respectful. He feigned surprise. Oh, just because you say she's from the Gu family, does that make it true? Maybe she's an imposter. He moved closer to Lu Yuru and used his hand fan to gently lift her chin. At first glance, she looks noble and pure. But on closer look, she seems very interesting. That action made her visibly uncomfortable, and she knocked the fan away from her chin. Young Master Wang, today I have made my identity clear. If you continue to feign drunkenness and act recklessly, you will be smearing the name of the Gu family. At that time, if a memorial is submitted to the capital, I wonder if you, young master, can withstand your family's punishment? Wang Rong lost control of himself, angrily raising his hand and shouting you. But young Master Zhou promptly grabbed his wrist and said in a low, stern voice, "Young Master Wong, as the son of an official, you should be strict with yourself and set an example for others. If you insist on feigning drunkenness and causing trouble today, do you really want to make an enemy of the Gu family?" He had no choice but to leave in silence, but he didn't forget to mumble, "Oh my, I'm drunk. So drunk I can't even see who's who anymore. Someone, help me down." Lu Yuru sighed, a little tired, then looked up at young Master Zhou and expressed the concerns in her heart. "Young Master Zhou, I'm so sorry for implicating you this time. The Wang family is powerful in Yangzhou. Now that he can't do anything to me, he will surely make things difficult for you. It will be better for you to leave Yangzhou quickly. I will handle the fabric matter properly. You can rest assured." Young Master Zhou slowly replied, "It's all right. This kind of person, even if it weren't the young madam today, I, Zhou, could not have stood by and watched. Safety is paramount. Let me escort the young madam part of the way home." Lu Yuru bowed her head slightly in thanks. "Then I'll have to trouble you, young Master Zhou." On the carriage ride back, Lu Yuru's face was tinged with sadness. Seeing this, In Hong called out softly, "Young miss," but she paid no mind. A thought arose in her heart. In the future, when discussing business, as long as a man and a woman are in the same room, even with servants present, it's hard to avoid gossip. I wonder how my mother-in-law will handle this. Furthermore, this matter with Wang Rong, why did he suddenly appear? I threatened him like that today. In the future, could it be that? Suddenly, a loud sound from outside caught her attention. Giddy up. Her eyes lit up as she thought, that sound is Gu Juicy. She looked outside through the small window of the carriage and saw Gu Juicy riding a horse, galloping like the wind, causing her to shout, "Gu Juicy, where are you going? Come back." A subordinate rushed over. "Young madam, it's bad." The eldest young master heard that Wang Rong was bullying people, so he took a horse from the house, saying he was going to break Wang Rong's legs. Young Master Zhou approached the window of the carriage where Lu Yuru was sitting and spoke. "So this is the eldest young master of the Gu family. Truly young and spirited. Young madam, don't worry. The eldest young master probably just said that in the heat of the moment. They'll have an argument, and it will be over." Lu Yuru looked down, embarrassed, and stammered, "It's not like that." Then she looked up, her voice somewhat urgent. "Young Master Zhou, my husband has a hot temper. I have to go and see. Thank you for escorting me this far. We'll meet again." Young Master Zhou gently bid farewell. Then, "Young madam, take care." As soon as he finished speaking, Lu Yuru leaned forward and ordered Munan turned back quickly and chase after the eldest young master. She worriedly thought to herself, "If we don't catch up, I'm afraid the scene from my dream will really happen." Meanwhile, Gu Juicy pushed the door open forcefully and entered, shouting, "Where's Wang Rong?" Wang Rong, drunk amid some women, looked up. I was wondering who it was. Turns out it's the eldest young master of the Gu family. He walked over with a wine jug, provoking him. The eldest young master of the Gu family has always liked to show off, hasn't he? "Why are you dressed so simply today? Are you in morning clothes? Want me to toast you a cup?" Without another word, Gu Juicy grabbed Wang Rong's collar and swung a punch at his face, knocking him flat on the floor. He scrambled back and asked, "Gu Juicy, are you crazy?" Gu Juicy walked over, grabbed his collar tightly, and sneered, "Weren't you trying to act tough with me? Let's see who's the toughest in Yangzhou City. Try acting tough with me again." Wang Rong threatened, "If you do this, my father won't let you off." Gu Juicy scoffed, "Your father? I won't even spare your father." "Wang Rong, you insulted my Gu family first. It's only natural that I teach you a lesson. What can your father say?" Wang Rong shouted back, "Nonsense. When did I insult your Gu family?" Gu Juicy's expression darkened. "The person you caused trouble for just now is the young madam of the Gu family. Is my wife, and you say you're not causing trouble with me?" Wang Rong said softly, somewhat frightened, "You mean that?" "Juicy, it's all a misunderstanding. I was drunk, I didn't know." Gu Juicy swung his hand and slapped Wang Rong hard. "Only now you know?" Suddenly, two subordinates appeared and caught Wang Rong. One of them asked, "Young master, are you all right?" Wang Rong staggered, rubbing his head and complaining, "Why did you only just arrive? I was about to be beaten to death by him." He angrily gritted his teeth, enunciating each word. "Gu Juicy, your family has no shame letting a woman go out with men, talking and laughing. How can you blame me for not knowing? A married woman who still has no sense of shame like that." Gu Juicy, not to be outdone, retorted, "The women in your family live like turtles hiding in their shells, so you can't stand to see my wife living freely? I dote on her. Is it the place of a beast like you to comment?" Wang Rong's tone was full of sarcasm. "Gu Juicy, don't act so recklessly with me, or you'll be crying later." Gu Juicy swung a heavy punch. "Then let me make you cry right now." The punch sent Wang Rong falling backward. Wang Rong's subordinate shouted, "Young master." The subordinates were about to attack Gu Jusi, but he was not afraid at all and challenged them. "Who dares to take a step forward? Just try." Not a single one of them dared to move. Gu Jusi stepped toward Wang Rong, causing him to scramble backward and mumble fearfully, "What are you going to do?" Gu Jusi kicked Wang Rong hard in the groin, causing him to scream in pain. He stood proudly, his eyes radiating authority as he declared, "In my Gu family, men are people and women are people too. Whatever men can do, they can also do. They must live strongly, proudly, fearing neither heaven nor earth. From now on, if I hear anyone speaking behind their backs, I will break that person's dog legs." He leaned down toward Wang Rong and threatened again. "Did you hear what I said clearly? Do you still dare to act high and mighty?" Wang Rong frantically replied, "Eldest young master, I was wrong. From now on, whenever I see the young madam, I will stay far away. In this city of Yangzhou, you're the big boss, you're the greatest. I don't dare to act high and mighty anymore." Only then did he let Wang Rong go, allowing his subordinates to carry him away. As Wang Rong was leaving, he cried out in pain, "Hurry, my leg." Gu Jusi closed his eyes to calm himself, but when he opened them, his eyes widened in surprise to see Lu Yuru standing before him. Gu Jusi's gaze fell as he asked softly, "Why are you still here? Didn't I tell you to go back?" Earlier, Lu Yuru had seen Wang Rong being helped away, and she thought to herself, so Gu Jusi went ahead and did it after all, breaking Wang Rong's leg. I was a step too late. This was his doing. What's done is done. Now we can only plan for what comes next. She said nothing, just sighed and headed for the residence. Gu Jusi walked behind her and reassured her, "Don't worry. No matter what, they can't do anything to me. His father is just a Jidushi in Yangzhou. It's only a leg. My uncle is still around. He won't let anything happen. Besides, you weren't in the wrong in this matter." Lu Yuru, her heart heavy, suddenly stopped. "But, Jusi, fortunes can turn in this world. Even those at the peak of their power should know to leave themselves a path of retreat. For you to be like this." Gu Jusi gently put an arm around her shoulder. "I understand what you're saying, but he humiliated you to your face and even disrespected the entire Gu family. If I remained silent, what kind of man would I be? He recognized who was with you, yet he still dared to cause trouble. What would everyone who heard about it think?" He explained gently, "He is testing us right now. If I retreat one step, he will advance even further later on. Making him stay in bed for a few months serves as a preliminary warning." Lu Yuru was stunned, thinking to herself, Wang Rong has never been a deep schemer. He must have heard some clue. Then that dream. Gu Jusi watched her and asked, "Are you cold?" Before she could reply, he slid his arm around her front and hugged her. "Are you still cold like this?" The two of them chatted as they walked. Gu Jusi confided, "In the past, when I gambled all night with Shen Wenchang and Chun Sun, we would huddle together to sleep when it got cold, and it wasn't so bad. Don't get me wrong, I'm not using this as an excuse to take advantage of you. I see you as a sworn brother." Lu Yuru sighed and replied, "Then thank you." Gu Jusi looked at her gently. "When something happens, there's always a solution. If you're cold, I'll give you a coat. If you're still cold, we can lean on each other. Whatever comes, we'll find a way to deal with it. Don't be sad every day anymore." Suddenly, his gaze grew more serious. He said, "You're my wife. Even if we are to part in the future, as long as we are husband and wife in name for a single day, I will protect you well. Don't be afraid. As long as I am here, I will not let you suffer any grievance. Who would dare to bully you?" Lu Yuru became equally serious. "You would break his leg?" Gu Jusi answered firmly, "Yes." The two continued to walk. Lu Yuru glanced up at him curiously. "I understand what you said. Gu Jusi, didn't you used to hate me so much? When you married me, you weren't angry, nor did you make things difficult for me." She thought to herself, "And now you protect me so wholeheartedly." Gu Jusi replied in a deep, sincere voice, "I'm not someone who can't distinguish right from wrong. You married into this family to take responsibility on my behalf. You genuinely worry about me, forcing me to study and making me quit gambling, all because you're afraid I'll ruin my future. I've taken all of those things to heart. I will never forget the kindness you've shown me. That's the kind of person I am. If someone is good to me, I will never fail them. Besides, you married into the Gu residence because of my mistake. Not only should I not resent you, but I must also protect you and make sure you don't regret marrying me. That is a husband's duty." Lu Yuru was moved by his words, but didn't show it, only thinking to herself, "In all these years, this is the first time someone has treated me so fairly and so frankly and passionately without hiding anything. Someone who can openly declare in front of everyone, I dote on her, I treat her well." She said softly, "Gu Jusi, you're truly a good person." Being praised by her, Gu Jusi appeared full of confidence. Isn't that obvious? I've said it before, I'm the best under heaven. You really hit the jackpot marrying me. His words and actions made her laugh as she thought to herself, this man really can't take a single compliment. As they stepped into the room, Mother was coming out. Seeing the two of them, Mother spoke up. I heard that the eldest young master of the Wong family came to bully you today. Lu Yuru replied softly, I'm not sure how it happened. He suddenly entered, pretended not to recognize me, and said some very jarring things. Mother was a little worried. It's common for women to run into some trouble when they're out. Don't let it bother you. But tomorrow, I will go see his father. We must get some justice for this. Lu Yuru took Mother's hand and replied, There's no need, Mother. Mother looked over at Gu Jusi. But Jusi has already made a move? Gu Jusi didn't hide it, crossing his arms and replying concisely, yes. I said I would break his leg, and I actually did. Mother looked as if she was about to explode, shouting, Jusi, oh Jusi, you need to grow up. Many things cannot be solved with brute force. By making such a big scene today, you've turned a situation where you were in the right into one where you are in the wrong. Gu Jusi stubbornly retorted, being right or wrong is just a smokescreen for the world. Mother, you should just speak to Uncle and think of a way to have his father removed from the post of Judushi. That's the only way to eliminate the trouble at its root. Mother was exasperated. Nonsense. Then she raised a hand to her forehead and resignedly said, All right, fine. I will discuss it with your father. Tomorrow, you will go with him to the Wong residence to apologize. Lu Yuru, at her side, said worriedly, Mother, please don't be angry. Mind your health. Mother commanded, Guards, take the eldest young master to the Buddhist hall to reflect on his character. Gujusi, still stubborn, turned sharply to leave. No need, I can go by myself. Mother turned and took her hand. Yuru, come with me. She replied gently, Yes, Mother. Lu Yuru poured a cup of tea and brought it to Mother. She approached softly and said, Mother, please don't be too troubled. Jusi acted a bit impulsively this time, but it wasn't entirely without reason. The Wong family uses their power to bully others. If we silently endure it, aren't we just inviting others to disrespect us? Mother's expression grew pensive. I understand that as well. On a normal day, I wouldn't find fault with what Jusi did. I just fear that His Majesty has now become suspicious of Prince Liang. Hearing this, Lu Yuru was slightly startled. She listened in silence as Mother continued. I'm not clear on the specifics, but my elder brother and Prince Liang share a deep friendship. Jusi is right. Now that an enmity has been formed, it would be best if we could have the Wong family transferred out of Yangzhou. If His Majesty truly is suspicious of Prince Liang, we absolutely cannot reveal any weakness that could reach the capital and implicate my brother. But Jusi doesn't realize that nowadays, even his uncle's hands are tied. How would he have the power to move against the Wong family? The more Mother confided, the more worried her expression became. She took a sip of tea and sighed softly. Lu Yuru, sitting beside her, was also lost in thought. It seems the omen for my dream was about the day the emperor would fall gravely ill, become suspicious of Prince Liang, and attempt to eliminate this perceived threat before his death, forcing Prince Liang to rebel. When his uncle falls, the rebellious Prince Liang will be killed by Fan Xian, the Judushi of Yuzhou, and the realm will descend into chaos. I fear the Wong family has already caught wind of this, and is just waiting to find a flaw in Gu Jusi to use as a pretext to have his uncle demoted. The Gu family's wealth rivals the national treasury, naturally making them a target for the Wong family. As she thought about these connections, she unconsciously bit her lip, her whole body trembling. Her actions caught Mother's attention, who spoke up and broke her train of thought. But don't be too alarmed. The Wong family doesn't have many spies in the eastern capital. They couldn't have gotten the news so quickly. This might not be a trap. She looked over and replied respectfully, No, Mother. We cannot cling to false hope. We must now operate as if the Wong family has truly set a trap for Jusi. We absolutely cannot hand them an opening. If Lord Wong actually carries Wong Rong to the Gu residence to apologize, the Gu family's reputation for using its power to bully others will spread throughout the realm. You must take Jusi to apologize immediately, and you must do it so that everyone from the highest to the lowest witnesses it and is completely convinced, so that no one can accuse us of being biased. Mother now completely agreed with Lu Yuru's words. You are right. Prepare the carriage at once. I will take him there immediately. A short while later, the carriage was moving. Inside, Liu Yiru glanced over at Gu Jusi, who was nonchalantly enjoying a chicken leg. "Who gave you that chicken leg?" Chewing loudly, he looked at her and replied, "Munin did. They only said to lock me in the Buddhist hall, not to starve me. Only a cruel woman like you would be so vicious." Liu Yiru lowered her head. Mother originally planned to go apologize tomorrow, but His Majesty is already suspicious of Prince Leon. "I'm afraid the matter with Wang Rong was a trap." But Gu Jusi's sudden, decisive reply startled her. "I don't regret it. Actually, on the way to beat him up, I already thought it might be a trap. At worst, I'll go apologize with Mother and break one of my own legs in front of everyone. Even if word of this reaches the eastern capital, it would be hard to pursue the matter." After saying this, Gu Jusi's expression turned somber as he looked down. It seems the Gu family is about to face a storm. Liu Yiru said nothing, just looked up at him and thought to herself, "At first, I only hoped he could mature and improve. Now he's truly showing some signs of maturity. But I feel that a person who can remain innocent, untouched by storms, is what truly brings joy." But her gaze made Gu Jusi curious, and he asked, "What's with that look on your face?" The one who's about to have his leg broken, am not even sad." "What are you sad about?" Liu Yiru's eyes turned serious. "Gu Jusi, rest assured, I will go with you. If you really have to break your leg, I will carry you back." Gu Jusi was somewhat stunned to hear this, but he quickly pinched her cheek teasingly. "Your turn? The Gu family hasn't fallen so far that we need the young madam to carry me." Then he offered her a cup of tea to reassure her. "All right, don't be sad anymore. I've thought it through, don't worry. Here, have a sip of hot tea to warm yourself up." But his hand trembled, making her think to herself, he doesn't say it, doesn't show it, but deep down he is still afraid. His shy, trembling action before turning away stirred something in Liu Yiru's heart. Gu Jusi is intelligent, but in his limited life experience, seeing his parents show weakness for the first time, he clearly realized that he must mature to face the storm, yet a trace of vulnerability still remained deep inside him. Suddenly, he turned and gently touched her hand, softly saying, "My lady." Liu Yiru cut in, "Don't be afraid. I'm here with you. I will help you stand up. You won't lose face." Gu Jusi smiled, reassured. "All right, thank you, my young madam." The horse-drawn carriage stopped. Liu Yiru gently lifted the curtain to peek outside and exclaimed, "It's Wang Shanyuan. He's walking proudly towards her mother." Mother smiled and greeted him. Lord Wang, why are you here? I was just about to visit your residence to find you." Lord Wang replied, "Madam Gu, I Wang was also planning to visit the Gu residence to find Lord and Madam Gu. I didn't expect to run into you here. My son had a conflict with your esteemed son at the tavern. I heard news and have been worried sick, so I've specially brought my son here to apologize in person, hoping Lord Gu will be magnanimous. Considering my son's leg is already broken, please spare him. This old man is here to apologize on my son's behalf." As he spoke, Lord Wang bowed in salute. Wang Shanyuan bowed. "That boy of mine was drunk and didn't know that woman was the young madam of your residence. He felt an admiration and wanted to befriend her, not expecting to offend the eldest young master. Whether you beat or scold him, we will accept it. We only hope the Gu family will be lenient and let this matter pass." Jiang Ro was pensive and did not reply immediately. But nearby, countless whispers and gossip arose. "Young Master Gu is truly too cruel. Young Master Wang just wanted to get to know the young madam. Yet he was beaten until his leg was broken. I heard he was in seclusion studying. I thought he had changed his ways. Who knew? His character is just like that. How can he change just by saying so?" Gu Jusi couldn't help but grit his teeth in anger. "I can't believe he's twisting the truth, saying I broke Wang Rong's leg out of jealousy. I really want to go out and beat him to death right now." Liu Yiru had to stop him urgently. "Don't be so rash. Wait for Mother to call us out before we say anything." Meanwhile, Jiang Ro, "Why would he strike so heavily? Don't you agree, sir?" Wang Shanyuan was suddenly stunned. The crowd behind them whispered incessantly. "So he invited someone else's wife to go out with him. So that's what happened." Then Wang Shanyuan spoke gently to defuse the situation. "Madam, you've misunderstood. My son only admired the young madam's disposition. Besides, at that time, he really didn't know she was the young madam of the Gu family. If he had known, he absolutely wouldn't have dared to tease her. Now, his leg is broken. Please grant my son a way out, madam." Gu Jusi rushed forward, dashing past Liu Yiru, causing her to cry out in alarm, "Jusi, Wang Shunyuan continued to explain. Now that my son's leg is broken, I know Madam has already formed an opinion. No matter what I say. Gu Juxi's hand grabbed Wang Shunyuan's as he spoke. Lord Wang, I beg you to grant the Gu family a way out. His action surprised everyone, and the space suddenly fell silent. Lu Yiru looked through the small window and thought to herself, I told him to come and be soft. Why is he being so hard? Then she hurriedly followed him down, stepped forward, and said, Lord Wang, I'm so sorry. My husband is impulsive and still childish. I hope you won't blame him. Juicy, stop causing trouble. Apologize quickly. Gu Juicy grabbed Lord Wang's shoulders tightly, suddenly lifting him up, and said with a very serious attitude, Lord Wang, my hitting young Master Wang today was my fault. I am willing to apologize. But before that, I hope young Master Wang will apologize to my wife first. Gu Juicy gripped his shoulders so tightly that Wang Shunyuan said helplessly, It's good that young Master Gu knows how to be magnanimous. Finally, he let Wang Shunyuan down. His gaze and voice remained unchanged. Today, my wife went to the tavern to discuss business. Young Master Wang misunderstood and made lewd remarks. My wife has a gentle nature and wanted to leave, but young Master Wang forced her to stay and keep him company. Young Master Wang appeared from somewhere, shouting in denial, You're lying? I just complimented the young madam a few times and asked where she was from. How did that become making lewd remarks? Gu Juicy's At this moment, Wang Shunyuan turned his head to look at young Master Wang and winked, giving a signal. Receiving the signal, he fell to the ground to play the victim, pointing at Gu Juicy. Your uncle is a minister in the eastern capital. The Gu family is the wealthiest household in Yangzhou, while my father is just a local official. Would I dare to touch you? Now, you can say whatever you want. Gu Juicy, ever loyal and upright, raised his hand to make a gesture. It's true my uncle is a minister, but the country has its own laws. My Gu family are just merchants. How would we dare to abuse power? But Lord Wang is a high official of the current court. If you were to kneel before the Gu family, wouldn't that force us to become the target of criticism? But today, I struck young Master Wang. That was overstepping the law. It was my fault. Juicy is willing to accept any punishment, but I'm also my wife's husband. If my wife and my family are humiliated and I turn a blind eye and do nothing, then what kind of husband am I? What kind of son? Madame Jiang rose softly said, Juicy. Juicy doesn't understand the complicated matters of the world. I only know that if you're at fault, you must admit it. If you've committed a crime, you must bear the consequences. Today I was wrong. I apologize. I will offer a leg to atone for my crime. But before that, I ask you, young Master Wang, do you admit your mistake? If just saying a few words to a young lady is considered a mistake, then I guess I have no choice but to accept that mistake. Gu Juicy seemed to have reached his limit. Quick as a flash, he snatched a sword from a nearby subordinate and swung it high, causing Lu Yiru's eyes to widen in alarm as she screamed, Gu Juicy. But suddenly, a hand grabbed and stopped Gu Juicy. Young Master Gu dares to act and take responsibility, a noble character that I, Zhou, greatly admire. But young Master Gu still has to help me escort goods. If your leg is broken, it will be difficult for my side to manage. Then Zhou Yi stepped forward and bowed in salute to Wang Shunyuan. I am Zhou Yi, the adopted son of Zhou Gaolang from Yuzhou. Greetings, Lord Wang. In my opinion, how about we change breaking a leg to receiving 20 lashes to appease the anger? What do you think? Wang Shunyuan was surprised and immediately replied, So, it is young Master Zhou. You are too kind, young master. Although my son is seriously injured, it's not to the extent that young Master Gu should be injured as well. In that case, let's just drop this matter. Jiang Ro, standing beside them, spoke up. My lord, you are too kind. This is a matter between the young ones. I hope it won't harm the harmony between our two families. Wang Shunyuan tilted his head and glanced at Jiang Ro. The Gu family is not pursuing the matter of my son. I, Wang, am extremely grateful. Since it was a misunderstanding, I will take my leave now. Then they started to leave, but a loud shout made them jump. Stop! It was Gu Juicy. His reminder was filled with the smell of gunpowder. You still haven't apologized to Yuru. Young Master Wang, helpless against Gu Juicy's words, cried out, Gu Juicy, don't go too far. You're clearly using your power to bully people. Gu Juicy's voice was low and sharp. I'm not using my power to bully people. He brandished the rope in his hand, causing everyone present to hold their breath. Lu Yiru let out a soft cry. Juicy, He stood imposingly before young Master Wong, making him tremble with anxiety. He growled, "I've said it before, if you do wrong, you must admit your mistake." "Young Master Wong, do you admit your mistake?" Fear was evident in his eyes. Goot Juicy growled again, "Young Master Wong, do you admit your mistake?" He stubbornly refused to answer, causing Gu Juicy to swing hard, lashing him while shouting. 7 lashes. "Young Master Wong, do you admit your mistake?" 11 lashes. "Young Master Wong, do you admit your mistake?" We stood watching. No one dared to utter a word. Gu Juicy's voice continued to echo. 19 lashes. "Young Master Wong, do you admit your mistake?" Gu Juicy sneered. At this moment, Jiang Ro came forward, hugged his arm tightly, and pleaded. 2. "Enough, Juicy, that's enough." Gu Juicy looked over with a cold expression. "I'm fine, mother. I'm almost 20. I'm a man now. Don't be like this. Others will laugh if they see you." Madame Jiang Ro, with tears welling in her eyes, forced herself to beg, "Juicy, don't." He whipped his own back, causing blood to soak through and stain his back red. He continued to torment himself relentlessly. 20 lashes. "Young Master Wong, do you admit your mistake?" He approached, his tone haunting. "Young Master Wong, I have taken the full 20 lashes. Have you still not offered your apology to the Gu family?" Young Master Wong suddenly burst into tears. "I'm sorry, I was wrong. Young madam, I'm sorry I was wrong." Gu Juicy gave a satisfied smirk, and at that moment, his body seemed to collapse. Lu Yuru rushed forward to embrace him, calling out loudly, "Gu Juicy." He weakly looked up at her. "He has apologized to you." Lu Yuru helplessly scolded. "Foolish." Later, in the room, as Lu Yuru was tending to him, Gu Juicy looked up at her and said in a lazy tone, "My back hurts today. I don't want to sleep on the floor anymore. Let's sleep together for a bit, okay?" She, caring for him attentively, agreed immediately. "All right." He suddenly asked, "Why are you so well-behaved today? Have I charmed you? Do you find me extremely handsome, extremely captivating?" She looked at him helplessly and replied affectionately, "Gu Juicy, who did you learn that kind of self-praise from?" Gu Juicy replied, "It's all the truth. I have never lied." She softly expressed her thoughts. Actually, whether he apologized or not is important. "In the future, you must learn to be more tactful. Don't be so blunt or you'll suffer for it." He quickly asked, "So are you happy?" Gu Juicy took her hand, pressed it to his cheek, and said, "Seeing Wang Rong so scared that he had to apologize to you, did you feel even a little bit happy inside?" He recounted, when he was young, Shun Sun was just like you. He wouldn't dare say a word when bullied. I know he lived with grievances, but it's all right. Since he's my person, I will protect him. I used to take him a deal with every bully. We heard them apologize. He was so happy he cried. Suddenly, Lu Yuru's eyes welled up with tears, making him a bit flustered. "What are you crying for? I won't act so rashly in the future. Let's put it another way. Today, we taught the Wong family a lesson. 20 lashes in exchange for a leg. We came out ahead. Don't cry anymore. Come on, give me a smile." He successfully made her laugh, lightening her mood a little. Suddenly remembering something, he spoke up. "That's right. With me here, what grievances could you have? Crying like this will make me, your husband, feel like a failure. Don't tell me you want me to learn from King Yu of Zhou and light the beacon towers just to make you happy." Wiping her tears, she smiled and replied, "I am happy inside. To have someone treat me like this, I'm truly happy. I just feel distressed for you." He was stunned for a moment, then repeatedly reassured her, "It's nothing. I used to get into fights all the time. I have thick skin and flesh. It's no problem." He hesitantly revealed his thoughts. "You should calm down a bit. Don't think I'm too good. You should think of it this way. If it weren't for me, you would have married Yi Shuren. The Yi family is so good. The Yi family is full of officials. They don't form factions or cliques. No matter how chaotic the world gets, they will live peacefully. As for our family, our success is because of me, and our failure will also be because of me. You married into this family. If I'm not good to you, your life would be miserable." Lu Yuru, I just mean if, okay? If, in the future, the Gu family faces a disaster that could wipe us out, you must not do anything foolish. Survival is more important than anything. I have already written a letter of divorce for you. Don't think that I want to abandon you or break my promise. And don't think that I'm treating you poorly. I just hope you can live peacefully, safe for your whole life. Hearing Gu Juicy say this, she fell into a pensive silence, thinking to herself, the Gu family is very good. I can't bear to leave. But if that day from the dream really comes, I am just a mortal. What can I change? I'm afraid I will truly have to leave. Seeing she didn't respond, Gu Jusi flicked her forehead lightly, startling her. He explained, I was just talking nonsense. That day will never come. My parents are very capable, don't worry. Lu Yuru rubbed her forehead and replied, I know. She stood up, walked to the table, and said, actually, there's some sense in what you're thinking. Let's consider the worst-case scenario. If, as you said, one day Prince Liang rebels, and your older female cousin is Prince Liang's secondary consort, while your uncle is close to Prince Liang, what do you think will happen next? Gu Jusi raised his hand, his expression pensive as he thought. If I were my uncle, I would definitely risk everything to send the family's children into the palace to form ties with a prince or princess. Then when Prince Liang rebels, I'd just watch the situation and side with whoever wins. She asked, so your uncle intends to have you seek a princess's hand in marriage? Gu Jusi was startled and retorted, doesn't that mean he already knows Prince Liang will rebel? But then she walked over and patted his head. It's all right. It's all just speculation. We can't take it as fact. Her action made Gu Jusi jump up. What are you doing patting my head? Am I a dog? Lu Yuru teased playfully. Your hair is so smooth. It feels nice to touch. He feigned sulking. Why are you so immodest? A man's head can't be patted so casually. She covered her mouth and laughed, but you are my husband. The next day, while strolling in the courtyard, Lu Yuru had a pensive expression, deep in thought. Gu Jusi had invited Mr. Wang early in the morning to lecture on the state of the world. She feared he also understood that it was too late to take the imperial examinations now, so he had to first learn the most crucial things. Although they were joking last night, Gu Jusi had probably already made a decision in his heart. As she reached the door, she heard Gu Jusi's voice. Knowing about Mr. Wang isn't enough. Listen to me, investigate the names, backgrounds, and temperaments of the officials in the 13 prefectures, and bring it to me, understand? A subordinate bowed and replied, yes, young master. Lu Yuru walked in. Seeing her, Gu Jusi's expression immediately changed as he asked, weren't you going to stay and have breakfast with my parents? Why are you back so early? Didn't my mother keep you to chat a little longer? Lu Yuru smiled and replied, father and mother were worried about your injuries, so they told me to come back early to keep you company. She sat down, and Gu Jusi quickly poured her a cup of tea. She recounted, yesterday, father and mother discussed it. What Wang Shan did this time was clearly aimed at your uncle. We can't be sure who is behind it. With the Gu family still in Yangzhou, I'm afraid there are risks. Father and mother plan to scout the way in the 13 continents first, and gradually move the family business there. It could take 1 or 2 months at the fastest, or half a year at the slowest. We must prepare early. Hearing this, he responded, mother is still the most thorough planner. She glanced at him and asked, couldn't it have been father's idea? Gu Jusi took a sip of tea and replied firmly, no way. That old man is not as meticulous as my mother. It's a blessing he didn't make me uphold justice by disowning a relative this time. She scolded back, you're talking nonsense. Why do you think so poorly of your father? I heard both your parents dote on you. Gu Jusi's expression darkened. People are strange. Whenever they see someone with a rebellious nature, they assume it's because their parents spoiled them. Many people think that if a child doesn't listen, you just beat them. If they do something wrong, it must be because they haven't been beaten enough. I hate that way of thinking. The more I was beaten, the more I had to resist, which only fueled the rumors outside that he was not strict in his teachings. When I was young and weak, he would beat me every time. Mother had to risk her life to intervene, and the whole house would be in chaos. Lu Yuru was surprised and immediately asked, then why didn't you just behave to get it over with? He replied, are you a fool? If he hits you and you obey once, he'll think it's effective. The next time something happens, all he'll know is to hit you. Why do you think everyone in the world thinks that way? It's because the children who are beaten just endure it, which makes the adults do it even more. Do you know why all young people rebel at least once? Because deep in our bones, there's something we want to say, something we want to teach them in our own way. Beating me is useless. I can only become better on my own. Absolutely not, because you force me to. Lu Yuru was surprised by Gu Jusi's way of thinking and exclaimed, your thinking sounds strange, but it's quite reasonable. He looked smug. I have always been reasonable. Then she hesitated and asked, but if beating you is useless, then why did you agree to study after I forced you back from the Spring Breeze Pavilion? He briefly avoided her gaze. Wasn't it because I felt guilty towards you? Afraid I'd anger you to death? I'm not afraid of shedding blood at the Spring Breeze Pavilion. With my skills, if we had to fight, and one of the two of us would be injured or killed, it definitely wouldn't have been me. but I was afraid your stubborn head would really hang yourself at my front door. Seeing his expression and hearing his words stirred something in Lu Yuru's heart. For some reason, looking at Gu Juicy before me, I suddenly remembered the phrase, "A gentleman can be deceived by reasonable means, but not by unprincipled ones." In the short 10-plus years of my life, of all the men I have met, including the disciples of the Yi family famed for their strictness, yet none could be like Gu Juicy, truly and sincerely living by that principle. She recalled Gu Juicy's earlier words and actions when he went all out to protect her. I've said that as a person, one must know how to admit their mistakes. "Young Master Wong, do you know you were wrong?" She thought. The one who has always been scolded as a debauched playboy is actually walking the path of a gentleman in his heart in a quiet and misunderstood way. He uses retreat as a way to advance, teaching me through his own concessions. Gu Juicy planted that rebelliousness, that incomprehensibility into my heart, causing it to sprout. I feel like an outsider who has stepped into his world, silently observing, understanding, and delving deeper into him. She smiled unconsciously, which made Gu Juicy look at her in confusion and ask, his face showing his naivety, "Why do you keep staring at me? What are you thinking?" She didn't answer, only thinking to herself, "You are a treasure beyond my expectations." Each time I unearth something, I discover another surprise. She laughed and replied, "Thank you for giving me a new beginning, a real life, one that is difficult but free and unrestrained." She raised her teacup. Seeing this, Gu Juicy also raised his and clinked it against hers, replying, "All right, to our beautiful dream." Lu Yuru replied, "To the brocade road of 10,000 miles that lies before us." This episode of the story ends here. If you enjoyed it, please give me a like and a share to motivate me to make more videos. Remember to follow to watch the next episodes. I wish you all a day full of energy.